Oh, and it seems like we're going. Welcome everybody to my 4th ever live stream here on the channel. Hopefully I got the mic, everything all set up, because the first live stream the first version of this live stream that I did before this had very bad audio quality from the mic. And I guess that's because the live streaming software OBS, which is what I use, is routing the microphone audio from my cameras, my external cameras and mic, instead of the the one from my AirPods, which I'm testing right now. Yep, that's the one touching the camera now, which you can't see, but I'll show a live feed coming from that camera later on, which will probably be the first time I ever actually showed a live feed from the live stream too. But anyways, what are we here for today? Especially since right now it's April 30th. We're actually at the end of April, obviously. This is the end of the month stream, obviously. So I wanted to get this stream done before this month ends. So this is a stream that I've been doing a while back, maybe a few weeks, but I actually unlisted it because I didn't like the microphone quality and whatnot coming off of that live stream. So that's why I'm redoing it again. But anyways, what were you here for? Well, about 13 days ago, so about a little bit more than a week, the Computer Clan, which is the tech YouTube channel that I watched way back when, like since around 2009-ish or something like that. And this is a video that kind of caught my eye. This is the Molar Mac video. So if you don't know anything about the Molar Mac, well, short story. This is a Power Macintosh G3. This is the Power Macintosh. Ooh, 3 concurrent viewers. Anyways, this is a Power Macintosh G3 in an all-in-one form factor. It's actually literally called the Power Macintosh G3 all-in-one, if what I'm led to believe. But anyways, it's called the Molar Mac because of its like tooth-like shape. But anyways, enough rambling. Let's just get on with the video, shall we? And by the way, YouTube did. Oh, I'm gonna have to get rid of the ad here. But yeah, they actually I don't know if you guys know this, but YouTube actually changed their video player layout. They actually done this on the day the first YouTube video turned 20 years old, like late that night. But yeah, see how you guys feel about that. I mean, it's pretty interesting. It really is a clean slate from the old one that was used like since 2015, almost 10 years ago. My goodness. But anyways, let's just get on to the video and why is Ken having the why is Ken having a buck tooth, like a bunny tooth or whatever. But anyways, let's just get on with the video, shall we? I've been meaning to do this for a while, but anyways, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
This is the Power Macintosh G3 all-in-one, or as I like to... I'm sorry. Why do I do this to myself? This is the Power Macintosh G3 all-in-one, or as I like to call it,
the Molar Mac.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a giant tooth. This Mac is sort of an Apple outcast, for lack of a better word. And Apple killed it in only 9 months.
9 months?
Depending on who you ask,
wow,
it was kind of an ugly computer.
No
matter what you think of its appearance, there's still lots to explore. And this Mac also means a lot more to me on a deeper personal level, too. So,
let's dive in.
Hey everyone, how are you all doing? If you're new here, welcome. My name is Crazy Ken, and Apple's quest to build all-in-one computers dates back to the original Lisa computer. And
in 1983.
The Macintosh, introduced on January 24th, 1984 in this building behind me, the Flint Center.
which sadly enough, this building was demolished like a few weeks, like a while back, just recently. R.I.P. to that place.
The computer and monitor were combined into a single unit, and Apple continued to make all-in-ones for many years, such as the Macintosh SE, Color Classic, and one of my personal favorites, the Macintosh TV, or as I lovingly call it, the Blackintosh. All Macintosh.
By the way, the Macintosh TV on this channel, that was actually one of the earliest Crazy Ken's Tech Misadventures episodes that I watched. That was about that. That was about the Mac TV. It was one of the earliest Crazy Ken's Tech Misadventures episode, and also one of the. Yeah, it was one of the few Computer Clan productions that I watched when I revisited the channel back in like what, late 2010s or something like that, early 2020s, when I came back to watch some of his newer stuff. But anyways, let's get back into the video.
Macintoshes at this time were based on the Motorola 68K architecture, but
Motorola
in March
68000.
1994, Apple wanted to speed things up with new PowerPC-based Macs. This was an all-new processor created by the AIM Alliance, Apple, IBM, and Motorola.
Now, AIM also means another thing. That's AOL Instant Messaging, but that's not related to this one. The AIM, obviously. The AIM and AIM Alliance. So you got Apple, Motorola, and IBM, obviously. Motorola, the semiconductor part of it, became spun off as Freescale, and then became NXP now.
And the first all-in-one PowerPC Mac was the Power Macintosh 5200 LC.
Which, by the way, this Mac has a unique startup chime. So, I'm actually gonna put a demo on for you. This is what the chime sounded like. Oh boy, that I'm on my other phone too. I'm gonna hear how it sounds. This is what the chime sounded like. Oh yes, nailed it! I nailed it. I nailed it. I nailed it for the first time. Anyways, let's get back to the video.
Released initially only to education markets for $16.99. After all, getting computers into classrooms is part of Apple's DNA. It has been since practically the beginning.
What's also there since the very beginning is because the Macintosh platform was also popular among desktop publishing sources or whatever. But it was popular for the education and desktop publishing spaces for many years, until the 2000s, when it started finally pushing into mainstream because of the iMac and all of that. But as part of the education space, yes, so for instance, my second grade school had a bunch of Macintosh computers, mostly iMacs, obviously. You know, iMacs from like what, late 90s to early 2000s, mostly. But we'll get into that later.
So it's good to see that mission continuing with the PowerPC era. And on April 15, 1996, Apple pushed the all-in-one Power Macintosh line further with the new 5260 and 5400. But before we talk more about the new products, we should discuss the elephant in the room. Bankruptcy. What? Bankruptcy? You're telling me that Apple, this wildly successful company, which today is valued at $3.28 trillion, was almost bankrupt? Yeah. The 90s were a rough time for Apple. In Q2 of 96 alone, Apple lost $740 million.
That's a lot. And if you equate that to like what? In 2024, suggesting inflation, that would be a lot higher.
And although they didn't officially declare bankruptcy, they were in trouble. Profits were crashing, product lines were failing, and Windows was dominating macOS in the market.
Further along, their Mac line, their product was like, you know, the product lines for the Macintosh around that time, it was like all over the place. So back in the day, you had like the Performa, you had like the Quadra Centris LC Classic, and then the Power Macintosh series. It was kind of all over the place. And did I mention Centris in there too? I probably did. But yeah, the Macintosh lineup was all over the place. Plus, don't forget the PowerBooks in there too, but they're all in one line. Their portable line was pretty much all PowerBooks, but their desktop line was pretty much everything else up the wazoo. But and as far as their software, goes, as far as their software, their OS pretty much was on System 7. They were still on System 7 throughout most of the 90s. It started developing in 1991. They released it in 1991, and then they continuously put updates to it up until 1997 because they had several attempted but failed projects to try to modernize the classic Mac OS operating system, like the Star Trek project and Copeland. Copeland is what was determined to be System 8 or Mac OS 8, but then that got canceled and replaced with a different kind of product named Mac OS 8. But, well, all those aside, Apple was in the verge of bankruptcy at that time.
Apple needed rescuing. Steve Jobs, one of the three founders of Apple, left the company in 1985, which is a whirlwind of a story for another time.
Bunch of other Apple employees and even Steve Wozniak left the company around the mid-'80s too.
And Apple needed him to come back. So Apple acquired Steve's company, Next, for $427 million. And the deal included Next technology, personnel, and of course, Steve. In January 1997, Steve was officially back at Apple as a part-time advisor. And then in February, the Next deal was officially closed. It was done. 7 months later, in September 1997, Steve Jobs took over as interim CEO of Apple. And one of his new strategies was to narrow down the product offerings.
When we got to the company a year ago, there were a lot of products. These were the product platforms, 15 product platforms. If we had 4 great products,
in there?
That's all we need.
Part of this new strategy was a new generation of PowerPC chip, named G3.
Technically, under the terms, it was known technically as the 750 generation, PowerPC 750.
And at an Apple event on November 10th, 1997, Steve unveiled 2 new G3 desktops, the Power Macintosh G3 desktop and the Power Macintosh G3 Mini Tower. But wait, where's the G3 All-in-One? This is where the story gets a bit interesting, because the All-in-One wasn't released until 5 months after the G3 desktop and Mini Tower. So what was going on during that time? In late 97 and early 98, Apple was hard at work on their first ever iProduct, the iMac.
Retroactively known as the iMac G3, after the G4 released in like 2002 or whatever.
And it was unlike any other computer on the market at the time. Apple took big risks by ditching old I.O. like SCSI and Apple Desktop Bus in favor of USB.
So this, you could say with that, this is essentially what you would call the first legacy-free computer, air quotes.
They also created a radically new egg-shaped case with color, and probably the most controversial move, they ditched the floppy drive.
On that terms, after the iMac's release, all Macintosh computers made since then stopped including floppy drives in their systems. In fact, the All-in-One was probably the last one to include it. We'll get into that later.
But Apple was betting on the future, and to do that, you sometimes gotta let stuff go. There's more to the iMac story, and if you're interested, check out my iMac episode here.
You know something interesting? You used to click on this thumbnail here, and it'll actually go into that video. That came in the form of video annotations, which, if I this thing, annotations, that thing is kind of like a misnomer now, because annotations used to be like these boxes and stuff that you click on. That even allowed for interactive videos and such. Even clickable elements like this thumbnail here too. You would actually click on that and it'll actually take you to that video. YouTube got rid of that sometime in 2018 or whatever. But anyways, because they replaced it with cards, like this one. Oh, yeah, I got into that. But anyways, they replaced it with cards, you know, like the card that showed up there, and even end cards too. But anyways, back to the video.
However, while Apple was working on the iMac, they were also working on another product codenamed Artemis, which was also a G3 powered all-in-one computer. It's like they were making two similar products at once. This Artemis computer would soon become the Power Macintosh G3 all-in-one.
Yeah, and that little quotation there. This was Mr. Macintosh's computer. Twitter user Mr. Macintosh.
I'm not sure how much collaboration there was between the iMac and the G3 all-in-one teams, but there are some similarities, so I'm guessing some ideas were shared, at least. Other than that speculation, I cannot say much because I can't find any internal tidbits about the Molar Mac, aside from a black and white photo on Getty Images which shows Steve Jobs in the same room as a transparent Molar Mac prototype, dated September 18th, 1997. Less than 7 months after that photo was shot, on April 4th, 1998, Apple officially released the Power Mac.
Encoding overloaded. I see. I see that message pop up on my streaming software. I don't know, but it seems like it's still going.
G3 all-in-one for $14.99, but exclusively to North American education markets. So now we know where you came from. Now let's take a look at you in greater detail.
More greater detail.
Yeah, you're definitely tooth-shaped. You can kind of see it from the front, but you can definitely see it from the top.
It definitely it looks like the back tooth, obviously. One of the individual back tooths. No wonder why it's called the Molar Mac, because it's tooth-shaped.
The molar shape is also a bit visible from the back, and I suppose the side too. Okay, it's visible from pretty much any way you look at this thing. Wait, if this Mac is a giant tooth, are these holes cavities? Oh, I don't want to think about that.
Me neither.
I'm sure a few people thought of the nickname Molar Mac for this computer, but it's likely the term was originally coined by Washington apple pie president Lauren Evans. And I've been using the nickname ever since I heard it because I like it.
I'm pretty sure everybody else does too.
Their article called this Mac Beauty Challenged, which I agree. It's definitely not the prettiest Mac, especially when you compare it to Apple's industrial design and other products. But beauty is subjective, right?
What is that?
Why the did I... Shut up. Tooth comparisons aside, there are some other design traits worth looking at. Most of the case has a beige color, but Apple officially calls it platinum. There's lots of curves present in this design, which are likely a result of the espresso design language Apple used in products since 1992. On the top of the front...
By the way, the curvy thingeries, the curvature design of the cases and such for Mac stuff, that kind of somewhat translated over to other products, such as even in PC, IBM PC compatible since then, which I'm going to actually show it to you for the first time, hopefully, on a live camera feed here, showing the two computers that I have in my retro computing collection. So if you're ready, 3, 2, 1, boom! Ta-da! Presenting my AMD Compaq and the Intel Compaq. Now, if I get my camera a little bit closer to here, you can see that there are some curves on this front casing. The rest of the case after that is like a square shape, but the front casing on this thing is all curved. Kind of inspired by the espresso design language from the Mac's computers, somewhat, but not exactly. But you know, all on these translucent faceplates, obviously, somewhat inspired by the iMac G3. Not much, but it's a similar translucent plastic. You know. Side note: the Compaq Rosario 1400, a series of laptops, took the design cues of the iMac G3 computers, especially the original model, because it had a similar pinstriping case and whatnot. But anyways, these are my two computers I have in my collection. And by the way, this is a live camera feed. So I'm moving my hand here. I'm gonna snap here. This is all done live, okay? It's all done live. But anyways, we're gonna show these two computers later. We need to get back into the video. Let's see.
Bezel is a tiny rainbow Apple logo.
A tiny Apple logo. So I think this is as far as this Mac goes, this is one of the last Apple desktops, Apple Macintosh desktops to use an inlaid rainbow Apple logo. Because after the iMac, they just went to like monochromatic Apple logo designs, more commonly like black, white, whatever. The final product to use the inlaid rainbow Apple logo directly in the products was the PowerBook G3. I think it was like one of those like pretty darn quick 2 model, because the Pismo and whatnot had a monochrome logo. Anyways, back to the video.
And on each side near the back, there's a gray translucent Apple logo with a matte texture. Oddly enough, the top and back of the G3 All-in-One also have this translucent plastic with matte finish, despite the rest of the case being made of an opaque platinum plastic. My theory is the Molar Mac was kind of an in-between product. Apple was transitioning away from their espresso design language to the new design language with the iMac and future products, and the Molar Mac was in the middle.
So you could pretty much say that this Molar Mac was pretty much like the awkward middle child, air quotes, in terms of the design language used in Apple's Macintosh product lines.
The iMac had lots of translucent plastic with a matte finish, and maybe there was an internal discussion where folks at Apple said, hey, we should try some of that flair on this other all-in-one. However, at the time of the Molar Mac's announcement, the iMac hasn't been revealed yet, so to the eyes of the public, the Molar Mac was actually the first Mac with translucent plastic, and that design trait would go on to live in other Apple products, and it all started with this obscure model.
And by the way, it's a lesser known fact, but the Power Macintosh 8600 and 9600 and the Power Macintosh G3 Mini Towers were probably one of the first products to include elements of translucent plastic. It had, the levers. The levers actually used translucent green plastic. Little known fact there, but anyways, after a few years, Apple kind of started transitioning away from translucent colored plastics. Especially after the release of the iPod, which was predominantly all white plastic, they switched to using white polycarbonate plastics, starting with the iMac G4, and then it continued with that monochromatic color scheme up until like the newer Apple Silicon iMacs, which had colored aluminum enclosures. Obviously, in terms of the case designs for Macintosh products, they switch from translucent plastics from the late 90s, early 2000s to white polycarbonate plastics, to then switching to aluminum sources or aluminium sources, and then they still use aluminium or aluminum cases to this day, pretty much. But anyways, back to the video. Chat right to... Oh! Sparky the Proto. Hello! I don't know. Are you the... Oh yeah, you're here! Hello there! Let's see. My old middle school Macs had plenty of the Molar Macs. Oh yeah. Definitely. You know what? My second grade school had plenty of iMacs, obviously. It wasn't the Molar Mac, but it had the iMac G3s. Lots of iMac G3s from the early 2000s. And especially the eMac, which that we'll get into on later in the video. Anyways, I got one viewer watching this stream. I know this is an impromptu live stream that not everyone is going to take notice. Especially since I'm such a small YouTuber, obviously. But anyways, I'm going to get back to the video. 5
Dimensions,
concurrent
this G3
viewers.
is 19.92 inches tall, 16.08 inches wide, and 18 inches deep.
You know what? I did. Can you excuse me for a moment? I'm gonna. And I'm back. Sorry, everyone. Those of you watching the stream, I just had a little chat with someone related to me. But anyways, that's nothing. That's nothing here. That's just real life stuff. Anyways, let's get back into the video. Obviously, oh, let me read your comment here. Are you here? Yep, you're still here, Ah, yes. Transition to the 21.5-inch Retina iMac. Oh yeah, you're still here. You know, my brother actually has a 27-inch iMac that he's using concurrently. He got that at like a swap meet like a while back. I remember going there and seeing the computer there. That one is a non-Retina though, obviously. So it had no Retina display, but it's still a 27-inch iMac. But anyways, what am I here for? Oh, I was gonna show you something because this is the dimensions of the Molar Mac. Obviously, it's like 19 inches. It's like 19 inches long, 19 inches long, 16 inches wide, and 18 inches deep. If I compare that to, which I'm actually move over here to my move the camera over to my main computer. Not the main computer, to this thing. If I can get in the camera shot. This is the monitor of my Intel Compaq. And we got here. I'm going to measure how wide this thing is. So, by the way, so the Molar Mac is 19 inches long. So 19 inches long. Oh, there's like a mark there for some reason. You see that? So it's 19 inches long. I mean, that's like if you count this monitor, how long this monitor is. Can't really see it, but it's almost close, about the same height. And it's 16 inches wide, 16.8 inches. So if I do it here, it's almost about this. Oh, my arm's in the way. So I hold this upside down. It's almost about the same width. And as far as it's 18 inches deep. I'm comparing here. This is not the best comparing height, weight, length video thing that I'm doing right now, but that's why I got at the moment. But I don't know. This monitor seems a little bit similar to in dimensions wise to the Molar Mac, but it might be a little bit different. I can pretty much look up the actual dimensions of this monitor, since I can find the manual online. Anyways, back to this thing.
And it weighs 59.5 pounds. This is the heaviest all-in-one Mac Apple ever made.
And if you read that equates to like 60 pounds. So this Molar Mac was the heaviest computer out of everything, out of all Mac computers, at 60. However, I do have one other computer that weighs significantly less than that, obviously, which I actually have a picture of it right here. If I can actually find it. So just excuse me for a moment while I try to find the image. I have an image saved here. And if you saw the thumbnail that I put up before the stream started, this is the computer that I was talking about. Presenting, oh, why is that image not showing? But presenting, that went well, but what I'm trying to show you here, this is the Compaq Presario 4402, or as I like to call it, the ugly Compaq, because yeah, it's got a similar ugly looking case like the Molar Mac right here. I mean, not the most beautifully designed computer, but still, I don't know. It's just, to me, this design, people may look at it as ugly, you know, but to me, this computer, it seemed kind of like what the design wise, in my opinion, is like, I look at it and go, whoa, that that thing is like, whoa. It's like, it's so dazzling compared to what other PCs that were around the same time frame that package in these, like, what, especially all-in-ones too. Like even Compaq all-in-ones before this were like a little bit more conservative in design. But anyways, oh, you daily drive a wow, a DBT stage prototype MacBook Pro. Wow, interesting. Oh, good for you. That's interesting that you're driving a DBT proto MacBook. Anyways, this is the computer that I was talking about. And this thing weighs, I have the spec sheets here, 43 pounds just for the unit, but it's 65 pounds when it's placed in the packaging. So when it's in the packaging, it weighs more than this Molar Mac. But when you take this computer out of the packaging, it weighs less than a Molar Mac. So this computer, the Compaq Presario 4402, or as I like to call it, the ugly Compaq, just because the terms that people gave to this computer, obviously, if what you can call an ugly computer, besides the Molar Mac, 43 minus 60, that's 17 pounds. This one's 17 pounds less than the Molar Mac. But obviously, we'll explore this computer later on in this video, because my opinion, they tend to have some similarities with each other. I even have another image of the Molar Mac here. This one having this one has a beige colored CD optical drive down there. This one has a black one, which accounts for whatever that we're gonna be encountering later on in the video. They're kind of similar. They're all in one system. They're all in one systems. They potentially have the same screen size at like what, 15 inches. We'll get into that point later on in the video. This computer does not have a face, but this one kind of does. I mean, that's something I'm teasing later on. But anyways, they're kind of similar, but you know, they're not exactly you know, because one of them is like an Apple Macintosh and one of them is like an IBM PC compatible. So anyways, I'm trying to move this out. Anyways, getting back onto the video. What would I think? 5 stitches. Whoa. Try to break an Inspiron 530S. Yeah, it's 5 stitches. I think it's because you got electric shock or something like that. By the way, in terms of Dell computers, the only Dell computer that I have that's working now is a 930. It's a 980 Optiplex. I actually have it sitting right next to me. It's running. It's in sleep mode. That thing works. Can't believe I got it working. It was like one of my relatives, and they kind of borrowed it, but then my brother inherited it, and then he gave it back. He gave it to me just to store it, but I took a look at it and I eventually got it working. I put like a new graphics card in there, and I did whatever to it. But anyways, I'm gonna get back into the point in the video for all my concurrent viewers that are watching. It's like 4 now. But anyways, 27 views. Let's see.
The second heaviest was this Mac, but we'll talk about that later. There's still plenty more to explore with the Molar Mac.
Definitely.
Right after a quick break. I absolutely love Charge's
right after a quick break. From our sponsor. It's what LTT does. You know, Linus Tech Tips. Linus Tech Tips does the thing at their quick break. From our sponsor. It's something like that. You know, but anyways, back to here.
Transparent tech. I've shown some before, but I have a new one to show you today.
So this is a sponsorship
This is the iMac 2, which is the world's first wireless magnetic power bank with active cooling. And just like Charge's other products, it looks freaking awesome. The iMac 2 is a 10,000 milliamp hour power bank, which is double the capacity of many other common wireless power banks.
10,000 milliamps. Well, to me, I might think twice on that. I'm going to show my camera here. You can't really see it, but this is my, well, not the writing, but this is my power bank that I use on a daily basis. This one's a Belkin one that I got for Christmas of last year. I got this for myself, obviously, because I had the other blue one that's also 10,000 milliamps, but that started malfunctioning, and so that's why I bought this. It's a bit heavier than the last one, but it's still doable. It's about the same size. It fits my main phone that easily. So I have a yeah, dimension wise, it's pretty much the same size, width, and dimensions as my iPhone 11 Pro Max, which is the current phone that I'm using now at this point at the time of filming. Yeah, I'm reading it right here. You guys can't see it, but it's 20,000 milliamps. So that is way more than like what 10,000 milliamps on other power banks. But anyways, we're getting back to the sponsorship of this video, and then we'll resume.
iMac 2 uses an active cooling system which cools down the battery, resulting in faster, longer-lasting charging. And the compact design is also super portable, and it fits in your pocket. It charges phones with the Qi 2 standard at 15 watts, and it is Apple MagSafe compatible. And because it's a charge product, of course, it has this beautiful transparent design and some extra RGB lighting to boot. And check it out. It has a built-in kickstand, so now while you're charging, you can also watch stuff on your phone. And
that's interesting.
You can use it in landscape or in portrait, no problem. You can also charge two devices at once, one with the wireless connection and one with the wired connection.
By the way, my power bank right here, I'm going to show it to you on the live camera again, also has two charging functions. Well, I'm mainly talking about the ports, because this is like all ports, no wireless charging. So this is just an old-fashioned power bank with no wireless charging support, but it does has a single USB-C port for charging the power bank, as well as charging devices using this connector too. It also has two USB Type A ports for charging too. But anyways, back to the point of the video.
And it's TSA compliant, so you can bring it with you on the plane inside your carry-on baggage. So go ahead and click the links in the description to get your own Charge iMac 2 today.
Compliant.
And when you do that, you're also supporting the Computer Clan. So thank you very much. Alright, let's continue exploring this tooth-shaped Mac.
Oh, that guy left.
To make the Molar Mac, Apple collaborated with teachers and
the
students
person
to
that
make sure
that
they had everything they need. And that
the
might
person,
be why the thing
pause here. The person that chatted me actually left. But anyways,
is so big. Yeah, they crammed a lot of stuff into it.
They
On the
did.
front is a 15-inch CRT with resolutions up to 1024 by 768.
So this thing has like a 15-inch screen. So that's a similar screen size to this computer, the ugly Compaq as I call it, the Compaq Rosario 4402. So this thing also has a 15-inch screen, 13.8-inch viewable CRT, built-in CRT. So there's one similarity there.
There's also a built-in microphone and two headphone jacks so students could share.
By the way, this computer right here, I'm showing it again, also has a built-in microphone. Look at that. It has a built-in microphone at the top there. Alright, back.
There's also stereo speakers. In the middle is the volume control, and then we get to the
squinty face of the computer, obviously, which I actually had made a post, a Twitter/X post that I have right here, which kind of like getting into the face thingery. It's not similar to what it looks like, but take a look. So this is what I kind of tweeted out or posted when he posted this post, or tweeted out this tweet. Obviously, this was like a while back, but they're kind of similar. Not exact, but it's still like the squinty face or something. This one's more like a squinty face, but this one here, this is actually Unikitty from her TV series counterpart. From like what 2017, 2020, around the same duration as my when I used my old Daily Driver laptop, which is also around that same time duration. But this is actually it's the sleeping form of Unikitty, but this one's kind of like a squinty eyes for the zip drive, and the floppy disk drive makes it look like the squinty eyes, and then this black colored drive is like a open mouth. Whereas the image that I use is similar but different in a way, because this one actually has closed eyes and an open mouth, but they're still similar in concept to each other. I just did this post just for fun and to engage. Anyways, back to the video, shall we? With the squinty face of this computer.
The face of this computer. On the right is a 1.44 megabyte floppy drive, and beneath that is usually a platinum colored 24 times CD-ROM drive, but this system has been modded with a black drive.
By the way, if you want to know what it actually looks like, I do have a picture here. You take a look down there. This is a platinum. That one is a platinum colored or beige colored 24 speed CD-ROM drive. So you look at it that way, that looks like a closed mouth and only two squinty eyes. Either way, back to the video, shall we?
Doesn't eject all the time, so I have to use my external Apple CD300 from 1993. And then we have the optional Zip 100 drive, which we will talk about more in a moment. The stand also tilts and swivels for convenient repositioning of your 59.5-pound tooth.
You know, by the way, I might also show this again. Well, this monitor right here also have a swivel stand at the bottom here. If I move my keyboard out, this is a swivel. This is a stand that swivels around this monitor, obviously. Since I don't usually tilt this monitor often that much, I usually keep it like this. Anyways, back to the video, shall we?
It's okay, G3. I say it lovingly. I mean, I need to lose some weight too.
Fun fact, yeah. Ken has openly admitted, he has said on many of his on a couple of his live streams that I've watched, when looking back through his old videos, especially during the anniversary streams, he did note that he was kind of like about a few pounds heavier than he was back then. He even had a bold cut too. I mean, he gotten better. Yeah.
But, I'm a carbon-based life form. I can actually lose weight. You're For the I.O., we have DB25 SCSI, Apple Desktop Bus, 10 base T Ethernet, 2 serial ports,
Chat
and
rate
DB15 video
1%.
out. And if you wanted an
back?
internal modem
Oh.
card, it would be installed here.
Looks like a smoker's tooth. Well, if you can count the translucent plastic yellowing. Yeah. If you count because yes, even plastics like these can age. Especially translucent ones.
This model also has RCA in and out, S-Video in and out, and audio in and out. These additional ports were part of an optional AV card which connected to the perch slot on the logic board.
By the way, as far as the the perch expansion cards, obviously, they were common on the Power Macintosh G3 platforms. Typically on the G3 mini tower and desktop, you had 3 different types of cards. You got the Whisper card, which is just only audio capabilities. Then you got the Wings card, which is like both audio and video. Then there's also a third card that didn't make it into the all-in-one, which is the Bordeaux card. That's how I kind of pronounce it. This one had an improved audio ISIC or whatever for greater sound quality and whatnot. And this was not offered on the all-in-one because it didn't have the connectors for it.
And once I fire this baby up, we'll take that card for a spin. Oh, here's another feature you don't see often on all-in-one Macs.
Expansion slots. Because this is a Power Macintosh model, it needed expansion slots. Because otherwise, if you don't have one, it's basically just like a Performa at this point. Or whatever. if it even has a PDS slot, which that's like PDS slot, processor direct slot. That's like based off of the LC and whatnot. But anyways, back to the video.
There's three 33 MHz PCI slots, and I'm using one for 100 meg Ethernet right now. And to add cards, and access other components, all you have to do is remove these 4 screws, and the back slides out like a drawer.
So it's pretty much like a easy open like feature. Yet you still have to use screws because there's no like easy open locks to kind of like open the back up. Obviously, I would presumably think that was done because in the education space, you know, you might have kids kind of like messing around with like the hardware, like messing around with the computer and such. So to kind of like secure that from kids in the classroom, kind of like tinkering around with that stuff, they put you need to have the 4 screws in there, so that way they don't tamper around with what's in the computer. That was kind of like, that's my thought, obviously.
And you might have noticed, I installed a USB card on the system as well.
By the way, this is a USB 2.0 card, which I did use USB 2 cards on these 2 Compaq systems right here. What a nice shot. I had both USB 2 cards installed on both the AMD Compaq and the Intel Compaq right here. All of them had USB 2.0 expansion cards installed in them because, well, you open this slot, out reveals 2 front-facing USB ports. However, those are only USB 1.1. So if I try to like plug in like a USB flash drive like this one here, this is a SanDisk one. Oh, it's 10 o'clock right. Oh, it's 9 o'clock right now. But back to my point. Since these 2 front-facing USB slots are USB 1.1, so if I try to plug in like a USB 2.0 flash drive like this one's a 32 gig, by the way. I plug it in, it would still work, but it'll run at a very slow transfer speed and whatnot. So that's why I need to have a USB 2.0 card in there, so that way I can run it at the actual speed of USB 2.0, transfer speeds, whatnot. Anyways, back to the video.
Alright, that's in there, and we'll close her up. Assuming this computer is a her. I don't know. Nice and crunchy. Bon appetit!
It's he pushed it in really there. If this plastic was yellow and brittle, it would probably break. But you know, as far as with old Mac computers nowadays, I mean, there's a whole video going on the topic of broken plastics and whatnot, aging plastic on Macs. There's probably a video out somewhere, but you know.
Now I want to circle back to the zip drive because I don't think I've ever talked about this type of storage before, at least not in a long time. This particular Mac probably had a zip drive originally because the badge on the back says it did, but it's not in there anymore, so it must have been taken out at some point.
Probably.
But whether or not it has it, we should still talk about this technology. Zip was a removable high-capacity disk storage system developed by iOmega. The original drive and disks were shipped on March 24th, 1995, and the disks could hold 100 megabytes of data. This was a lot of storage space for 1995, considering the popular floppy disk format could only hold 1.44 megabytes.
So, side note here, I never actually used a zip drive before. Neither on my any computer that I had, any computer that I used back then, never had any zip drives. I heard of the term zip disks before. I probably heard that in a Windows XP tour. I probably heard the term zip disk in a Windows XP tour too, because it also mentioned zip disks. Well, I only heard that on like the professional version of that tour, because you wouldn't hear the term zip disks on the home version of the Windows XP tour, obviously. But anyways, seeing that I never used zip disks before, my childhood Compaq and neither any of these two have zip drives or zip disks, whatever. All of them have floppy drives. They're atypical floppy drives. You know, I could bring one out here for you. So your standard atypical floppy drive would look something like this. This is the disk that has a Kronos OS selector on it, which is basically like a disk utility software that you pretty much use to like do disk management and whatnot. I use it pretty much all the time on these systems, but for some reason this disk stopped working at some point. But this is what a floppy disk looks like. If you've never seen one before and never held one before, I'm pretty sure most kids of later generations won't even know about this technology, though they may have seen it on some small cases like icons. They use a floppy disk as a save icon. But anyways, to show you how it goes, floppy disk inserted like that. And then it would kind of like spin up the magnetic sleeve that's in there to read the data, obviously, whatever. I don't know much about the technical terms, but anyone better than me can explain how a floppy disk drive works. Because yes, there's like videos and whatnot showing how it all works. By the way, this Compaq has 2 floppy disk drives. Because I can. You know, now that thinking about zip drives, I may as well put one zip drive on here. Maybe a zip 100 or a zip 250 drive in here. And maybe I might take advantage of zip disks. But not now. I think I'm fine with floppy drives. Even if it was only like what? Because these only store like 1.44 megs, obviously. So it's not a lot to store plenty of data, especially for modern usage. Because most file sizes are like well above 1.44 megs. But anyways, I've been getting back to the video, shall we?
By 2003, over 50 million zip drives and over 315 million zip disks had been sold. But despite these big numbers, it wasn't popular enough to replace the tried and true 3.5-inch floppy disk. And as hard drive prices came down and rewritable CDs gained traction, zip disks and drives became less economical, especially in the early 2000s when flash drives started going mainstream. So this is why you'll see 3.5-inch floppy drives on Macs starting in 1984, and then in 96-97, you'll see zip drives mixed in as Apple started phasing out floppies. And 5 years later, the Power Mac G4 Quicksilver was the last Mac to officially offer a zip option. It's been a fun ride. Now some may say this Mac is beauty challenged, but real beauty comes from the inside. And by that, I mean the specs.
Well, you could say this Compaq Presario 4402 is beauty challenged. Even these two, my 2 Compaq systems. Once again, I'm showing a live feed here, so move my camera. I even bumped the tripod. Anyways, back to the video. The specs of the Power Macintosh G3 All-in-One.
The Power Macintosh G3 All-in-One shipped with a PowerPC 750 G3 processor at 233 or 266 MHz, depending on your configuration.
By the way, the original iMac from 1998 possibly came with the same type of processors. Preferably like what? 233 MHz or 266? Whatever. I think 233 MHz was the first G3 CPU, I guess.
This particular model has a 266. The system also uses PC66 SD RAM and officially supports up to 384 megabytes, but if you're sneaky, you can unofficially install up to 768.
So, by the way, 384 megs is like Apple's recommended maximum size. You could install up to 768 if you wanted to, if you know how to do it. But anyways, the Molar Mac and I'm pretty sure the rest of the Power Macintosh G3 lineup all use like a form of SD RAM, standard SD RAM instead of like what EDO RAM or whatever back.
For storage, Apple offered a 4GB hard drive, but this model has been upgraded with 80 GB.
By the way, I have well, not relating to my Compaqs here, but these things this Compaq this Compaq came with a 40 gig, and I think this one had no hard drive in it, but this one came with 40 gig hard drive because I still have the original hard drive even though it's dead. But that tells me that this originally came with a 40 gig, but I replaced it with the 160 gig as the primary, and then I also had a 500 gig hard drive. This one has a 500 gig hard drive, but you know, it's pretty much more enough what I need nowadays, because like even 80 might be a little bit I mean 80 is like a good compromise as far as hard drives go, storage.
For graphics, this Mac...
I had to go. Keep up the good work, Mike. Oh, thank you. I'll be catching you again next time. Maybe in another stream, too. Anyways, yeah. So, for anybody else that's still watching this stream, whether you're watching this or not, this is my 4th ever live stream. For those of you that are tuning in, this is my 4th ever live stream. This is actually a redo because the first one that I did, once again, I had to give you a brief. It had a really bad audio quality from the mic because it was using my camera's audio microphone instead of my Apple AirPods 1. That's why I'm redoing it again, and it took me over about like a week or so to try to get this video done, because I'm doing this as like an end of month live stream. But anyways, back to this video.
Featured an ATI 3D Rage 2 Plus with 2 megabytes of video memory, which could be upgraded to 6. But that was only if you had a Molar Mac shipped before May 1st, 1998. From that date onward, Apple replaced the 2 Plus with an upgraded ATI 3D Rage Pro. And to power it all, this Mac uses a 300-watt power supply. The specs could be customized with Apple's build-to-order features on their online store. And, fun fact, this was actually one of the first Macs to be sold through the online store.
I didn't even know that. The Molar Mac was the first Mac to be offered via the online store. One lesser known fact.
And I think that's worth mentioning because the online store is huge. It's still used today. And this guy was here in the early days. Good for you. Now let's look at the software. This Mac originally shipped with macOS 8.1, but we have 9.2.2 installed on this unit.
By the way, the original iMac also came shipped with macOS 8.1.
The documentation says this Mac can run up to macOS 10.2.8 Jaguar, but I cannot get the CD to boot. I tried my macOS 10 Jaguar CD, and I got the Ghostbusters symbol. Then I tried my macOS 10 Cheetah CD, which is a bit older, and I got the broken folder icon. I tried using the internal CD drive, and I tried using my external CD drive. Nothing worked. Turns out this could be a more widespread issue, and it's not just the Crazy Ken curse trying to attack me. According to a 1998 CNET article, Troy Barkmeyer reported issues booting from CDR and CDRW disks on Molar Macs, and he has recreated this problem multiple times. So I guess no OS X for now, but that's okay. We don't need it anyway. Mac OS 9 is great.
Surely. By the way, this Molar Mac, and also the other Power Macintosh G3 computers, even some of the PowerBook G3 models, they were all the last systems to come as like what's known as an old world ROM Mac. They were the last old world ROM Macs to be offered before they switched to the quote-unquote new world ROM Macs with the iMac. So if you don't know the terms old world and new world, basically old world is basically like you have like a ROM chip on the board that stores all the startup software and whatnot. So basically like your Macintosh toolbox and whatnot. Sizes can be up to like 4 megs. And typically old world ROM Macs do not have a built-in USB drive. They do not have a USB port, obviously. They all pretty much came with like Apple Desktop Bus and serial ports and whatnot. And as for New World ROM Macs, they use like well, it uses open firmware. Old World ROM Macs also use open firmware, but in a limited scale. New World ROM Macs takes full advantage of open firmware, and the ROM sizes, the boot portion of it, has been reduced to about like 1 meg, pretty much. And that's pretty much what we have on all PowerPC based Macs using the New World ROM architecture, starting with the iMac and then ending up to the last PowerPC based Macs before they were replaced by Intel based machines. It's a little bit technical here, but you know. By the way, so even if the Molar Mac's a CD drive wouldn't read from any of the disks, or wouldn't, because you know, it's probably still possible to run like what Mac OS 10 on even the all-in-one, and even all across all other PowerBook G3 and pretty much Power Macintosh G3 desktop and mini tower computers, which are old world ROM machines. You know, some PowerBook G3s are old world ROM machines, but you know, it is possible to run Mac OS 10 on officially supported old world ROM machines. You could run it unofficially using like X post facto, but you know, there's some like little complaints about that. But anyways, back to the video.
Now let's test out that AV card. I have some plug-and-play TV games, and if I want to play...
By the way, I actually have that Wheel of Fortune plug-and-play video game thingery back then. We got at my local swap meet a few years ago. At that one swap meet that just closed not too long ago and replaced with like a parking lot for like that Amazon warehouse thing. But anyways, back to the video.
Play them on my Macintosh screen, I simply plug the RCA cables into the AV card, and boom! For some reason, I can't get sound to work in Apple Video Player, but in Avid Cinema, I can get both sound and picture to work. I can also record a movie with Apple Video Player, or capture footage directly into Avid Cinema. And with my Digi Makeover by GirlTech, I can capture my face with the built-in camera and trap it inside this Macintosh forever.
Is Crazy Ken trapped inside the Molar Mac forever? I don't know. There's gonna be some lore drop near at the end of the video too, so I'm looking forward to that.
Now, Avid Cinema I think is pretty interesting because I didn't even know about it until recently. But basically, it was Apple's solution to simplified video editing on the Mac before iMovie existed. Avid is widely known for Media Composer, which is the industry standard for Hollywood film editing. But in the 90s, Avid offered a simplified video editing program exclusively through Apple, named Avid Cinema. The tabbed interface takes users through the steps needed to make a good video. The Storyboard tab helps you plan the movie. The Bring Video In tab lets you capture video and save it to the hard drive. Edit Movie gives you editing tools, and Send Movie Out lets you export the edited video to a VCR or a movie file. The Editing tab provides a 4-track timeline for video, titles, voiceover, and music, and it actually scrubs quite well. You can also add transitions between clips. Alright, Molar Mac.
By the way, if I do ever get like a vintage Mac or whatever in the future, in like the far out future, I may as well look into Avid Cinema.
We looked at your design, your features, your specs, and your software. It looks like you're ready to go into the classroom and help millions of students further their education.
Hopefully.
Oh. We just got a letter.
We just got a letter. We just got a letter. We just got a letter. And it's from whoever. I'm just doing my little Blues Clues thingery. If you guys don't know what I'm doing, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, obviously. Anyways.
It's from Apple.
We just got a letter, and it's from Apple Incorporated. I don't know. I wonder who it's from. It's from Apple.
Cool. You're famous. They said no. Unfortunately, sorry. Unfortunately, the Molar Mac did not last long in Apple's product line.
What happened?
It seemed like a good computer, though, so what the heck happened? On May 6th, 1998, Apple revealed the iMac, a completely new all-in-one personal computer ready for the internet. Yep,
May
May
6th.
6th. Which was about a month after this thing launched. But to be fair, the iMac wouldn't actually go on the market until August. Again, the iMac focused on the future with an all-new design, and it ditched legacy I/O in favor of USB. The system was 40 pounds, much lighter than the Molar Mac.
40 pounds. 40 pounds. It's like 20 pounds lighter than the Molar Mac, but it's also like going back to the ugly Compaq, as I like to call it, the Compaq Presario 4402. This thing weighs about 43 pounds. So the original iMac weighs 3 pounds less than that computer. By the way.
And it was more affordable too, $12.99 for the general market and $11.99 for education customers.
Will I even go back into that particular that computer? The computer, the Compaq Presario 4402 here, or as I like to call it, the ugly Compaq. How much did that go? Retail price $17.99. So the original iMac cost less than this thing, which yeah.
Apple started shipping the iMac on August 15th, 1998, and by that time, the Molar Mac was only on the market for about 4 months. Why did Apple release similar G3 all-in-one computers so close to each other? I can't say for sure, but if I had to guess, the Molar Mac was merely a stopgap product to buy Apple some time while they were working on the iMac. Or maybe they would release both computers and see which one sold better or which one performed in a certain market better. I can't say for sure. But what I can say is the iMac completely overshadowed the Molar Mac. Heck, even in all the books and movies I've read and watched about Apple and Steve Jobs and the big comeback, the iMac is often mentioned, but never the Molar Mac. I think that's understandable. The iMac made a huge impact in the computer world, selling 5 million units in the first 2.5 years, and the iMac line still exists today. In fact, the original iMac was so popular, eMachines even wanted to make their own version. I'm sure Apple won't sue over that, right?
You know, I actually watched a video about the eMachines E1, which is the copyright infringing iMac, obviously. So if you don't know what the E1 is, the eMachines E1 is basically like a somewhat of like a clone copycat version of the iMac G3, which you'll watch Crazy Ken's video about it. And there's also several video essays out there if you want to take a look at it for yourself. But anyways, back to the video.
That's a good episode too. Feel free to check it out. Sadly, the Molar Mac's life was short. According to some sources, it was discontinued on September 1st, 1998, but Apple's official support page states it was discontinued on January 1st, 1999. Then, 4 days after the official cancellation, Apple announced the all-new Power Mac G3. Beige was gone, and it was clear Apple was moving in a new direction, with a new design language and new technology.
We just open this thing here, and there it is.
So, rest in peace, Molar Mac. You weren't even 9 months old.
Barely.
But, in the famous words of Steve Jobs, there
There
is
is
one more
more
thing.
thing.
When we come back.
I just there would usually be an ad here, but I think this is also probably a good time to do a BRB. If anyone is still watching, might as well take some time to have like a quick water break. So I'll be back with you guys in a bit. And by the way, I actually used this screen. This is the first time I had to whip the screen up when someone interrupted me, obviously. But anyways, I'll be back in a few minutes. Stay tuned. I am Blackintosh. It sure is great to get out of that bag. Yeah, I directly quoted that from old Computer Clan live stream. It was one of the first few ones with as part of the Crazy Can stuff, but you know, it was part of a Q&A thing. I had to directly quote from that. Anyways, we're back. Let's take a look at what is going to be the successor to the Molar Mac that only lasted for almost 9 months. Well, let's resume. By the way, I'm pause here. I know I've done lots of pausing in my live streams. I'm sorry about that. But anyways, about the Patreon thing though, for Computer Clan. I was once a Patreon supporter for a short time. In fact, if you go into some of the older videos of the Computer Clan, you can actually see my name at the end of the credits because I had I think it was like a plentiful of dollars option to have your name in the credits. By the way, I'm no longer, but well, not only did I become a Patreon supporter, I also became like a YouTube member of the Computer Clan too. So for a short few months, for a short little while, I was supporting the Computer Clan. But right now, because of my financial situations, I'm not. Hopefully, in the not too distant future, maybe I'll look back into that. But anyways, what's to come? And we're back. What's that? A resurrection? Emulation, education, the iMac. So for those of you that are tuning into the stream, I'm gonna say this in case I haven't mentioned it. So you know, in my elementary school in seventh grade, it's not seventh grade. That's middle school. Oh man, I haven't really gotten my words together. But anyways. In my elementary school in second grade, there was one iMac that was in the classroom, in one of the classrooms. But because my third grade school that I went back then, they started shifting the Macs around. So you only see like the iMac here and there in a few classrooms. Because they were shifting those Macs around for some reason. But anyways, back to the video. That's like a few pounds more than bringing this back again. This is the ugly Compaq or the Compaq Rosario 4402. This one weighs about like what? 43 pounds. And the iMac weighed around 50 pounds. So if I do my calculations here, quick calculations, the iMac is 7 pounds heavier than the Compaq Rosario 4402. But as a bonus, it did weigh 10 pounds less than the Molar Mac, which I suspect, oh my gosh, if I ever get a hold of a Power Macintosh G3 all-in-one, which is not in the near future, oh my gosh, that thing's gonna be pretty taxing on me. It's gonna be pretty heavy for me, obviously, even the iMac too, but you know, because I mean, the iMac and the Molar Mac don't have like handles, you know, like the ones that you see on the G3 and such. I know for sure the iMac G3s and all that have handles, but the Molar Mac and the iMac didn't. So you had to actually like carry it like you would carry like a CRT monitor or like a television or whatever. That fits you. Well, anyways. pausing here. I'm gonna go back into my monitor here. This is whoa. So back here. Sorry about the wonky camera angles. This one is a 17-inch monitor. This is a Compaq Presario MV740 monitor. It has a 17-inch screen. I think it was like 15.3 or 6 inch viewable, but it's a 17-inch monitor, you know, with a 17-inch CRT display. And it also has side mounts for the speakers too. And I bought this because it kind of reminded me of a previous monitor that we had for the childhood Compaq, which was a Compaq CV5, not 535. It's CV735, which is exactly like this, but it doesn't have a microphone and it lacks the silver accenting, obviously. Of course, that monitor died not too long afterwards. Like, I believe around 0304 that monitor died, and we replaced it with like a Dell Trinitron monitor from like one of those Optiplexes that we used to have. One of those like a beige colored ones, the first generation beige colored ones. If you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, back to the video. By the way, you know, back then, when one of my classrooms had an iMac, back when I was in elementary school in not 7th. Why did I keep 7th again? I keep saying 7th again. 2nd. Back when I was in elementary school in 2nd grade, when they had this particular model iMac in their classrooms, I you know, at one time I tried opening up that flap with my hands. Obviously, it was a little bit hard, but I did eventually get it open at some point. But you know, I didn't fiddle with the computer even more though. But anyways, back to the video. By the way, later models of the iMac had even higher clocked processors, up to like what, one gigahertz to about like 1.25 gigahertz to 1.42 gigahertz, whatever. I don't know. Not looking up the specs now, but anyways. The NVIDIA GeForce 2 MX. That's the graphics. That's like the graphics accelerator card that was in. Whoop. That's like the graphics accelerator card that was in my AMD Compaq at one point, but I recently took it out and replaced it with like a ATI Radeon 9100 because seeing this thing has like an AMD processor, and seeing that ATI was brought out by AMD back then, I figured it'd be a little bit more appropriate to stuck in an ATI card rather than an NVIDIA card on my AMD Compaq, because you know, ATI and AMD, I think they go hand in hand together, seeing that ATI was brought out by AMD. But you know, the card that I had in here is semi-working because you know, it's not really working as I thought it would, but I might as well get like a Radeon 9200 card in here or another 9100 card, or I might as well put back the GeForce 2 MX card in there and just like, you know, whatever I can do with it. Anyways, back to the video. Definitely. It's like, once again, going back to my 2nd grade school, even though all the classrooms had a bunch of like, all the classrooms mostly had a lot of like of iMac G3 computers, mostly from like the early 2000s, and some, because like all of them that were in those classrooms, they were pretty much like, I believe, like early 2001 or late 2001 or whatever type models, because they came in like the indigo and snow colors. Well, I don't think I have seen any of like the multicolored ones though, like the blueberries and whatnot. I'm not too sure, but I did see an original Bondi Blue iMac at my second grade school too. That was like the only one that was out of the all the Mac computers that were in there, obviously. And the eMac was also there in the second grade school that I went to, obviously, if I have already mentioned it several times on the stream. But anyways, back to the video. Cheap. You know, Apple will actually retract that in its last few months of the eMac in the market. They retracted that and made it again exclusive to education customers. You know, they only offered it to the public for a short time because, you know, it was like an affordable option to the iMac G4 and potentially the iMac G5, whatever. But, you know, after having it on the market for like a few months, I think in 04, 05, they switched back to the education exclusive market, obviously. I don't know what caused Apple to kind of like retract selling the thing out to the public and just only offered it exclusive to education markets. I'm not too certain on that. But, you know, this is kind of like how it is. And by the way, before we close out on the eMac for the stream, going back to my second grade school again for because yes, my second grade school at one point in the late 2000s, obviously too, they had a bunch of iMac computers, including the eMac and the Bondi Blue original iMac, and a couple of iMac G3 systems there, you know, in indigo and like snow, whatnot. But eventually, by the time I was in third grade, they started ditching all these iMac systems and replaced it with like IBM Lenovo ThinkCenter computers. I did see all those iMacs stored into that one classroom that they were using as storage, and they were all in there at one point, like on the floor or some. They were like all packed there. They were like all packed there, ready for like either like e-waste or like what not e-waste, but like to an e-waste facility, be taken away to an e-waste facility, or being donated, whatever. But I don't know the fates of those iMacs that were from my second grade school, obviously. The actual fates of them. I would say they were likely given away into like an e-waste facility to be recycled, or they were probably donated to a few people. Well, anyways, that second grade school that I used to went to don't have those computers anymore, obviously. They all have IBM Lenovo ThinkCenter computers nowadays. Even all the other schools that I went to, they're all like IBM Lenovo ThinkCenter computers, except for a few, you know, in first grade and whatever. But even when I was in high school, especially in like middle school and high school years, they're all like ThinkCenter computers. But anyways, back to the video because I'm getting off track. My goodness. I'm well over like an hour now. An hour and 32 minutes. Wow. You know, I listened to one of Ken's podcasts, which is called No Cameras Allowed. I listened to it on Spotify, and one of the episodes that he did was his talking about his collecting of vintage Apple computers and vintage Apple products. And there was that one point in there that I might spoil it for you, but anyways, there was that one point in there where, like in 2014, he wanted to downsize his collection because he needed more space. Because he was going to be moving out soon, and he didn't want to take everything, all his collection, to his new place. But he also added in the fact that he was kind of losing interest in that retro tech space, because he mentioned that between 2014 and 2015, he kind of wasn't interested in that space. He was even contemplating about even selling his collection at one point, but luckily that never happened. But anyways, yeah. So to put a TLDR thing, obviously, Ken wanted to downsize his collection. He took photos of his collection at that time, posted on the Twitter saying that, oh, I'm giving these away. Anybody want these? They're free. And nobody responded. So he loaded it up on. He loaded them up onto his relatives, his family relative's car, and they took it to an e-waste facility, and that was the end of it. Ken felt regret because he probably just recycled a lot of those valuable collector's items. Well, anyways, back to the video. From Snazzy Labs. Interesting. That didn't last long. By the way, this is one of the very few Computer Clan productions that was produced after the Crazy Ken series kind of took over the Computer Clans. It became like the dominant series for the Computer Clan channel. But this was one of the few productions that didn't fall into the Crazy Ken universe and all that. And seeing that it only lasted for 7 episodes, it makes me think that this series didn't really perform well as those in the Crazy Ken universe. So because the Crazy Ken series of episodes, both Tech Misadventures and Tech Talk, it's pretty much the staple point for the channel at this point. But anyways, back to the video. Don't forget Michael MJD. He was also featured in a few Computer Clan videos too. AKA the Molar Mac. You know, the same thing could be said too with these Compaq Presario systems. Once again, live feed here, so the camera's going to be a bit wonky, but you know, as far as these Compaq systems go, these Compaq systems is actually what sparked me into creating this YouTube channel. Well, making videos for this YouTube channel, obviously, because I created this channel only for commenting purposes back in like when I created in 2020, which in a few weeks this channel is gonna turn 5 years old. Wow. It'll be 5 years since I created this channel for commenting purposes. But I originally created it for commenting purposes, and it was only until like 3 years in that I started making videos on this platform, and it all started with these computers. The first video that you can go on the channel right now is actually me starting this thing up with Windows 98 Second Edition. And that was in May 19, 2023 is when I uploaded it. But yeah, his point, you never know what's going to inspire you when you put your creations out there. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now. There's not that many videos out there about these systems, though there have been some after I made videos about these things. But to me, these computers, they hold somewhere. They hold a special place somewhere in my heart, obviously, because yes, obviously I was kind of obsessed with my with my childhood computer, our first family computer, which was a Compaq Presario 7000. Obviously, my parents got our childhood computer back in like 2001 or something like that, and we used it for like almost like 6, 7, 8 years before we replaced it with the HP Pavilion Media Center computer in like 2008ish or something. But anyways, yeah, I'm not rambling on here, but let's get back into the video because it's already starting to end. Including me. Catch the crazy and pass it on. Okay, I gotta pause here because this is the... Remember me talking about the Patreon thing earlier on the stream? This is what I was getting to. So, in the older episodes of Crazy Ken's Tech Talk and even Tech Misadventures, you might see my name pop up on this list. My actual real name, obviously, but you know. But because I'm not a Patreon supporter nor a YouTube member, well, mainly a Patreon supporter, because you have the option of getting your name in the credits if you have the higher dollar option for that. But anyways, I neither have any of those any of those supporter thingeries, like even Patreon and like YouTube members, because of my financial situations. But maybe in the not too distant future I might come back. But whoever. Or thanks to Mr. Macintosh. Yeah, because it was Mr. Macintosh's personal all-in-one. Alright, this is the Crazy Ken lore drop here at the end. Now, Crazy Ken's reading it, but I'm going to read it first. Dear Crazy Ken, the signal jammer will only be in effect for about 30 seconds, so read this message immediately. For years, I've been trying to break you out of your lair 10 stories underground. The people holding you there against your will are more powerful than I originally thought, and this operation is way behind schedule. Stick to the status quo, but be prepared for future communications and/or a visit from me. Sincerely, the Delivery Man. P.S. In case the signal jammer isn't working, don't read this out loud. Now, I'm pretty sure the signal jammer worked in there, but I think Crazy Ken was kind of reading this out loud, but we'll get into that when he reads it. The Delivery Man. Wow. That went well. Whoa. And look at that. I actually closed out the window to prevent an ad popping up. But yeah, that's pretty much it for about the not Compaq, the Power Macintosh G3 all-in-one video. But yeah, that's pretty much that. What I need to do here, we're already at like what, 1 minute and 42 seconds. We got like YouTube is not responding. YouTube is not responding. What the heck? Did I open Studio? I might have to refresh. Oh, please don't do this. I don't want to let it crash. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, what was that? What's that reading? YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, but hey, we've been running this thing for almost about like an hour and 43 minutes. But anyways, to all my 4 concurrent viewers that are currently watching this stream, I'm sure most of you are probably not subscribed or not even have any accounts. If you may as well, please consider subscribing to the channel. That's probably the first time I ever said on the channel overall. Oh my goodness. But regardless, even if you're not subscribed or if you are subscribed, thank you for watching whatever I put on my channel, obviously. I know it's a small channel, obviously, but I mean, not striving to be like, what, some viral, like, 100,000, like, subscriber, like, YouTube channel, whatever. But anyways, like, so I'm doing this just like a hobby, as a hobby. It's a YouTube as a hobby, as I like to call it. Doing YouTube for fun. You know, like how it was in the olden days of YouTube, the early days of YouTube, like what, 2005, 2009-ish or something like that. But anyways, yeah, that about wraps up for whatever that we have on here for the video, obviously. Once again, I'm going to compare these two, obviously, because they're both similar all-in-one machines. They're from different companies, and they have different architectures, obviously. One of them is a Compaq, one of them is an Apple Macintosh, like I said. So, yeah. So, it's pretty much like the Mac versus PC type thingery of all-in-ones. You know, these things right here, because these are all like 90s machines. Now, you could argue that, oh, hey, because the Apple Macintosh is a PC, but you would get like comments saying, "Oh no, the Macintosh is a Macintosh and the PC is a PC. Stick with it or deal with it." Anyways, don't quote me on that. But anyways, yeah, so they're very similar. In fact, they're similar, yet they have differences. Like this one has translucent plastic, and this one doesn't. But you know, they're similar in either way. By the way, this thing came out in 1996, and this thing came out like 1998. As far as this one here, because this is the Compaq Rosario 4402, in which I call it the ugly Compaq, just judging by what people gave terms to this thing. But you know, to be honest, I wasn't really into these types of Compaqs back then because, well, by the time these were out in like the mid-90s, I wasn't even around them. I wasn't even born yet, because I was born in the early 2000s. By the time I was around, these were the computers that I was familiar with, as far as Compaqs go, which is these Compaq Rosario 7000 computers from the early 2000s. By the way, these also had a short lifespan too. They only lasted for like what, I believe 2 years, because these things released in like June of 2000, beginning with the AMD powered model and then ending it in 2001. September 2001 when they replaced it with like the 8000 series, which is pretty much like well, the 8000 series of Presario computers. They're pretty much like the Compaq like Desk Pro thingeries or whatnot, because they use a similar case. They use a similar case design that you can use in like a desktop or like a mini tower position. But anyways, so yeah, these computers right here are the first two computers in my retro computing collection, and this computer right here is what sparked it, you know, because of my obsession and my passion for the very first computer that I ever used, which is my childhood Compaq, the Compaq Presario 7000 from 2001. I keep saying that. Anyways, man, oh man, I'm starting to getting a little bit burned out during this live stream, especially since I had to redo it again after the whole microphone fiasco on my part because of the thingery. But anyways, yeah. Anyways, I guess that's about wraps up for this. Everything that I need to do on this live stream. Almost like around like almost 2 hours in. Well, we're not even 2 hours in, but it's already about like an hour 48. I think it's about time that I should start wrapping things up here. I got my water here to kind of like get back on here. Because anyways, I got other things to do, obviously. I just wanted to get this live stream out there because I did this one before, but because of the camera microphone quality, I had to redo it. But anyways, for all my 4 concurrent viewers here that are still watching, which I know you probably don't have an account or not subscribed, but anyways, to all my 4 concurrent viewers watching this stream, thank you for watching this live stream, whether you're watching this or not, you know, as a live replay or whatever. 41 views. I think we're capping at 41 views, I guess. But anyways, thank you for watching this live stream, and yeah, there's nothing really much to do here because we're gonna start winding things down here, obviously. So, what better way to end off the stream? Well, I already got things set up and ready right now. How about I just do a quick startup video? A live startup video of my Intel Compaq here. Which, this thing is a 6 2-pole booted system. So I'm gonna turn on right now, live for the first time. So you're ready? 3, 2, 1, smoke test! Redirect you here on the monitor. I'm hearing the floppy seek sound. And it's gonna make floppy seek sounds all the time because of the second floppy disk drive. By the way, flicker seizure epilepsy warning, because this monitor is reading at like 70 hertz. So, and because this camera that I'm using right now, you cannot adjust the shutter speed on this thing, unfortunately, not in my streaming software, so it's set as this. But this is all the operating systems that I have on here. So I have 6 operating systems listed here: Windows 98, Windows 2000, Windows 2000 Server. Yes, I do have a server-based OS on this personal computer, even though it's not a server, but I still have it on here regardless. Then Windows 2002 Professional, Windows 2002 Personal. These are all XP-based systems, but I gave it like a little bit of a Windows 2000 style look. And then Windows Embedded POS Ready 2009, which is a point-to-sale version of Windows XP Embedded, which in turn is based on Windows XP Professional. But anyways, let's go into Windows 98. By the way, I'm putting my hand over the Windows 98 boot screen, but quickie, this is what the Windows 98 screen looked like. Now, this has the Plus package, so that's why it says Plus 98 on there. But I also had the Microsoft branding at the top there because, yes, because this one is based on an OEM install, but I had a 98 Plus on here. Now, normally when you install 98 Plus, you don't get this, and you only got that. This is like a modified boot screen that I made, obviously. That's so I'm gonna load. Yeah, I'm putting my hand over there. All right, and once we get there we go. Now it's at 60 hertz. Yep, 1024 by 768 at 60 hertz. So this thing can record 60 FPS, 60 frames per second video, and the shutter speed's now at 60 frames per second. Don't mind that beeping noise in the background. That's just my watch, my sports watch, or whatever. Anyways, here we are at the desktop. Now I'm gonna escape. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's the Windows 98 startup sound. And boy, oh boy, welcome to Windows 98. By the way, now that I said welcome to Windows 98, let me show you like a tour thing, whatever that is. Yeah, welcome to Windows. Welcome to the exciting new world of Windows 98, where your computer desktop meets the internet. I'm going to turn that off. WinVer, Windows 98, copyright 1981 to 1999. This is the second edition of Windows 98, because obviously there was a quote-unquote first edition of Windows 98 that released in 1998, and this is the improved version of that, which released in 1999. But yeah, Windows 98 is all set and ready to go for whatever I need to do for my retro computing needs. Anyway, you know, not necessarily fun fact, but still fun fact, I did use Windows 98 back then, obviously. It was in first grade too, and I was a wee young kid back then too, and I was using an older Windows OS back then. Like, I had Windows 98 on one of their laptop computers in one of the classrooms. Obviously, they also had a desktop computer that ran Windows 95. Strangely enough, so at like a very young age, when I was a kid, I was using older Windows OSs. The current computer that we were running at the time had like what, Windows XP and Windows Vista, obviously, because I was using both of them. Whatever. Anyways, yeah, I got it running on here. And by the way, the background that I'm using, this is based off of a drawing that was done based on the Cyborg Kudo-chan series, if I say that correctly. It's pretty much an obscure manga and anime series that was pretty much only present in Japan, obviously, never anywhere else. Though there are some, But anyways, I didn't make this art, but I just used it as a background wallpaper because why not? It just looks cool. But anyways, now I'm gonna shut this thing down. Windows 98 shutdown sound, which I don't think it might have came out with that like default or something. Anyways, shutting down, and the computer's off. Anyways, that about wraps up what I want to do here on the stream. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you everyone for watching this stream. All my 3 to 4 concurrent viewers currently watching this stream. Because this whole video was just me reacting to Computer Clan's Molar Mac video that he just released about like a week ago. I enjoyed it. I get to watch it on stream with you guys, even though it's just only like the 4 of us here. 42 views. That's the magical number right there. I'm sure that number has a significance. You know, actually, fun fact, 42. Oh, one viewer here. Oh, Hello, DK Fuel. Yeah, you're just tuning in, but you're just tuning in almost at the near end of the stream. But anyways, yeah. Short story. This whole stream was pretty much just me reacting and watching to the Computer Clan's Molar Mac G3 video, which is a pretty interesting video about the beauty challenge, quote unquote. Power Macintosh G3 all-in-one that people call it ugly, you know, because like I could bring up a photo here, but I'll just do it here. The 4402 Compaq Rosario 4402. This is another ugly computer I found, because this is also another one of the computers that people called ugly. I call it the ugly Compaq, and this is pretty dazzling, I gotta say. Not very controversial styling, but you know, I've seen other ugly computers than these things here, but you know. Anyways, it's pretty much just like these things right here. They're pretty much like function over form, and it's not like form over function, pretty much. Anyways, yeah, 43 viewers. Okay. Anyways, I think that about wraps up for me here. Cause I'm gonna be cause I got stuff to do. I always have a fondness for all-in-ones. Love the Mac Color Classic. Oh yeah. You know, Crazy Ken also. The Computer Clan also has a Macintosh Color Classic in their collection. By the way, I can actually bring up I could actually bring up like because he did tweeted this out. You know, by the way, this is welcome to the. By the way, if you just joined here, welcome to the post stream here, as I call it. This is kind of like the winding down phase of my live stream. In fact, we're almost about like almost about like 2 hours. About 2 hours in. This might even be the longest live stream I've done. Anyways, I'm gonna go down here. Computer Clan. So yeah, this one here. So he just posted this out. So this is what the Macintosh Color Classic, the one that they have in the collection is now currently. Oh, now at 2 hours in. We're officially 2 hours in. I think this is probably officially the longest live stream that I've done on the channel. Yep, and it is. So this is my first 2 hour live stream that I've done, obviously. But anyways, yeah. So this is what he tweeted about, and it's exactly what I it is exactly what I remembered, because I did watch an old Crazy Ken's Tech Misadventures episode about this iMac, the Mac Color Classic. And yes, that's what it looks like. I think that was probably from the logic board or something like that, whatever. I even tweeted out, I remember this old KKTM episode. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, talking about the Color Classic. By the way, my parents used to have a Macintosh Classic, not a Color Classic, but a Macintosh Classic, the original Macintosh Classic, not a Classic 2. I think my dad has that particular computer. I think it was kind of like using it for music and whatnot back then, but yeah, that was probably the first Mac computer that. Oh, you owned one back in the day. Oh, interesting. Yeah, my dad owned a Macintosh Classic, the original Macintosh Classic, back in the 90s, the early 90s, and it stayed with us until like in the late 2000s. I remember 2008, 2009. When they still had it, I was kind of like exploring it, but because there was no cords to it, I couldn't actually turn it on. Plus, I was very young at the time, And I think that actually became e-waste, unfortunately, because I think one of my brothers threw it out. But anyways, who knows? Maybe I'll get another Macintosh Classic in the future. Maybe that might be one of the first computers that might end up in my retro computing collection. But hey, even I still had fondness for the iMac too, because if for those of you that are just tuning into this stream right now, I will mention the story of the iMacs from my second grade school. Wow, you still have the original Classic? Oh, it doesn't boot. Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't know about my my parents' Mac Classic, cause I'm not sure about that. It was a long time ago. But anyways, wow, you own the E-Machines E1 at one point. You should have kept it. Oh, did you just like give it away or something like that? Oh. Wow. Yeah, but about I'm gonna mention this for anyone who's watching the stream right now. Chat rate 2, 5 concurrent viewers. Anyways, why is my camera pointing into the thingery now? Anyways, going through story time here. So in second grade, like what, 2009, 2010 school year, the school that I went to had a bunch of iMacs in the classrooms, in several classrooms. So it's pretty much like they're all iMac G3s. It's pretty much like they're all-in-one translucent colored machines with the CRT display. And the particular iMacs that were in those schools, that were in the school that I went to, they were pretty much like, I believe, early 2001 and summer 2001 models. Maybe summer 2000, I guess, because most of, not all, the iMac G3s that were in my second grade school, they were all indigo and snow colored. I don't know if there were any graphite ones in there. I don't think I've seen any graphite ones, but there are mostly indigo and snow models. I'll actually bring you like a photo here. So this is the last 3 iMac models that were released in summer 2001. These came with G3 processors up to 700 megahertz. This one and this one are the two iMac G3 computers that were in my elementary school in second grade at one point. However, one of the few classrooms actually had an original Bondi Blue iMac. If you don't know what it looks like, well, I show you a picture here. So that's what it looks like. So between this and these iMac machines, this is obviously a tray loading one, and these are slot loading ones. They are pretty stylish, you know, with the translucent. They're eye candy. They're pretty much eye candy, eye candy computers, obviously, because with the translucent plastic and clear plastic, whatever. They're pretty interesting Macintosh computers, especially if you're getting one in the collection. Oh, you own the monorail PC? Oh wow. I remember Michael MJD made a video about the monorail PC. I watched that. By the way, I did also look up. I saw one eBay listing for a monorail PC, but that probably has been sold, right? Whatever. Oh, you do also have an eMac too. Yeah. By the way, I'll get back into my school, my elementary school, second grade elementary school again. The eMac. So that same school also had an eMac too. So once again, if you don't know what an eMac is, what it looks like, Well, if I can try to find, this is what the iMac looks like. Obviously, if you have seen the video, I mean, if you're here expecting me to watch the video, I mean, I've left the link in the description so that you can watch the video for yourself on the Molar Mac. Obviously, I mean, because the whole video was about the Molar Mac, but the iMac was pretty much like the spiritual successor to the Molar Mac in short. Obviously, they're both offered exclusively to the education market, although this one was offered for a short time to the public. You just sold your monorail PC on eBay about a month ago? Oh wow, I didn't saw your listing. Wow. Oh, anyways, yeah, wow, I'm going through several thoughts here. I've been running this stream for over 2 hours now. So much. But anyways, my second grade school had a bunch of iMac G3s and one iMac. And these machines are pretty much all scrambled into different classrooms, because in one classroom the Indigo iMac would be there and the Snow iMac would be there, and then occasionally an eMac may jump in there, and then it was just kind of like all like switched around. I think that's just how my second grade school was at that time. But anyways, yeah, they had that, and one of the classrooms had an original Bondi Blue iMac from 1998. And by the way, I'll probably put this out here because I didn't bring it up during when I watched the video. But anyways, so all the iMacs that were in my second grade school, back then, all those iMacs pretty much all ran Mac OS 9. Obviously, they never ran with Mac OS 10. I guess. I'm not sure if the eMac. The eMac that was in this classrooms was running Mac OS 10. I don't remember, but it probably ran Mac OS 9 somewhat. So, and I'm guessing for that Bondi Blue iMac that was in one of those classrooms, it probably came with like what, 8.1, 8.5, 8.6, or at least any version of Mac OS 9. It's just too long ago, because it's like 2009, 2010. That would have been like what? About like a few decades ago, maybe 1 or 2 decades. But yeah, it's just been so long. But that's strangely enough. These iMacs, they were pretty much the first Apple Macintosh computers that I ever used. Pretty much, because before I went to this second grade school that I just went to, I was using like what, your standard like what, Wintel PCs, obviously. So it's basically like it's like a IBM PC compatible. It's basically just like a standard personal computer with like what, your Intel AMD x86 CPUs running the Microsoft Windows operating system. Obviously, my childhood Compaq, which I don't have a photo to show it to you here, but my childhood Compaq, which is a Compaq Presario 7000, had it had a Pentium 4, and it originally came with Windows ME, the most controversial Windows operating system ever released, probably the worst one. But it was upgraded to Windows XP, and I used it for about like 7 years, until 2008. We replaced it with the HP Pavilion M9040N multimedia PC that ran Windows Vista. Now, before you say anything about Vista, to me, me using that computer, it came with Vista, obviously, and I think I don't remember having any serious issues on it. I mean, when I was a kid, I was just using it as it is. Of course, it did blue screens. Of course, I only had a few blue screens here and there, but like, me personally, and I'm being truthful here, I'm being serious, I honestly didn't really have that much issues with the Vista, obviously. maybe I'm one of the few. But anyways, yeah. So before I used these iMacs, I was using PCs like Windows PCs, but you know, because yeah, that's so much. Windows 7 was your old picture of you in the thumbnail. Oh wait, are you talking about the? Oh yeah, you were talking about my profile picture that I put at the smack end, like right down there, I guess. Oh, someone from Canada bought the monorail PC. Oh wow, interesting. Oh yeah, Windows 7 is your favorite. Oh yeah, yeah, I used Windows 7 before. By the way, the first Windows 7 computer that my parents got, it was a HP Pavilion DM4 laptop from 2010. It was to replace, which I actually have right here. It was to replace a Vista era HP laptop around that time frame. This one right here that I have, I still have it to this day. So for those of you might not know, this is the computer that I got. This is part of my retro computing collection, obviously. This is a HP Pavilion DV 2620 US laptop from 2007. I think late 2007. My parents bought this as one of our laptop computers that we got after, because I think our first laptop computer was yeah, I think it was a DB8000 series HP Pavilion laptop that ran Windows Media Center Edition, Windows XP Media Center Edition. It was I think that was like the first and only computer that we ever had that ran Windows XP Media Center Edition. I mean, and just to show you that this thing still works, I'm gonna actually power this thing on. You had what laptop, eh? Bring that up to here. By the way, this laptop, because this is actually the laptop that I used back then. Obviously, no kidding. I actually used this laptop back then. Even my brothers have used this laptop too. So I was using this alongside my HP desktop that I had at the time. And by the way, I can bring that on there. The backlight on this thing is dead. That's the one issue with this thing. I may need to get a new backlight on this thing, but so far this computer still works. It's got a hard drive in it, obviously, because the previous one was taken out. And the original battery on this thing is dead, but I replaced it with a new one. I can bring up what's on the screen here. Yes, this laptop is running Windows XP. Even though this thing originally came with Windows Vista, I looked up drivers for this thing, and this thing also supposedly supports Windows. The DB2000 series of laptops supported Windows XP too, so I went ahead and installed Windows XP on it, got some drivers installed on it, and well, what do you know? It works. It just works. Sorry about the wonky camera angles. Because the tripod that I'm using, the middle thingery that I use to kind of like tighten up the so that the tripod stays there, it actually broke off. That's why I'm kind of like pleading to myself that I need to constantly reminding myself I need to get a new tripod. Anyways, this is my because I'm running this on VGA, off of the VGA thing, because once again the main backlight is burned out, so that's probably one of the reasons why my parents got that Windows 7 laptop back in 2010. Really? You may have a similar looking HP Pavilion DB2000 series laptop. Oh wow. By the way, since you're here, yep, you're here. 5 concurrent viewers, 48 views. By the way, anyone that are just tuning into the stream now, we just finished up the main topic of this video, which was the Molar Mac video from the Computer Clan. Which, by the way, I'll go into I'll show you the video that I'm talking about. Obviously, if for those of you that are tuning in to yeah, those of you that are just tuning into the live stream right now, I was doing my little watching and reacting video of this this video right here. This is the Molar Mac video that the Computer Clan just posted about a week ago. And by the way, this channel is one of the earliest tech channels that I watched back then, as early as like 2009. Yeah, and you may, yeah, and even Ken points out in the video that that Ken heard about the Molar Mac and name from that one article or something like that. The Molar Mac, the heaviest beauty challenged iMac, or whatever that is. But yeah, go watch the video for yourself if you want to know more about the Molar Mac. Obviously, this video, even Snazzy Labs does a video of it, which that was the Snazzy Labs video about the Molar Mac. Is the video is what got Ken rekindled his interest in the retro computing tech and stuff, especially for vintage Macs too, because he was kind of losing interest in it for like a few years. I think beginning around like 2014, 2015, and by 2017 he was kind of like off on the side with like the retro tech things and whatnot. But because of Snazzy Labs video about the Molar Mac, because he watched that, it kind of sparked his interest into doing like making videos about like retro Apple tech and products and stuff. What he did with Vintage Apple Vault, which only lasted for 7 episodes. Yeah, it does look keen. It does look cool. Even the Molar Mac does seem kind of cool. You know, this thing has like translucency plastic. It has translucent plastic on the Apple logo and the rear portions of the computer. The side and the front portions are still beige platinum plastic. And I have a Compaq Presario 4402 here for comparison, because it's almost similar in design, but it's not exact. But because this is also what people called ugly too. Both of these things, but you know, anyways, because yeah, this thing does look cool, you know, on one end for the other. Oh, you used to own the Mac Portable. Yeah, the Mac Portable. It was one of the earliest. It was like the predecessor to the PowerBook. Some would say would be a predecessor to the PowerBook series. But yeah, the Macintosh Portable was the first portable Apple Macintosh computer that Apple ever made. It's like in 1989. By the way, I learned about the Mac Portable. I learned about the Mac Portable from a YouTube video about it starting up and then just boot looping with that sad Mac error thing, which I know scare factor. But you know, anyways, but you know, yeah. Yeah, the Mac Portable. That had like a Motorola. Yeah, it had like the Motorola 68,000 processor. It's a Motorola 68,000 processor base. Yeah. But yeah, wow, there's so many things going on to me today. I'm only like 2 hours in. By the way, I should probably because it's about 2 hours in for anyone that's tuning into this live stream right now. So for anyone that's tuning into this live stream, I will remind you again. Earlier in this live stream, you could even watch the replay too. I done my reaction and watching of this video too. Wow, the the portable was an affordable back in portable Mac computer in 1995. Wow, interesting. Yeah. Wow. By the way, since I had these things on here, I might as well get back into the topic of my story time with me and the first Apple Macintosh computers that I ever used, which was an iMac. So to put like a TLDR version of my story. So back in like 2008, 2009, 2010, my second grade school had a bunch of iMac G3 computers. The Indigo and the Snow, including the eMac, this one here, and one classroom also had an original Bondi Blue iMac from 1998. Now obviously all these Mac computers were kind of like put off to the side at the end of the 2009-2010 school year. And by the time the 2010-2011 school year rolled around when I was in 3rd grade, they started phasing out the usage of these Macs and replacing them with like IBM/Lenovo ThinkCenter PCs and ThinkPads, laptops, whatever. And they put all these iMacs into that one classroom for storage, possibly for donations or e-waste or something like that. I don't know about their fates, the fates of these particular Macs from that 2nd grade, 3rd grade school that I went to, obviously. But this was back in like what, 2009, 2010, 2011-ish or whatever. And yeah, your first Mac was a classic. Oh yeah, so you had a Mac Classic in college in 1989. Wait, hold on. The Mac Classic, that was released. Wasn't it in like 1990 when the Macintosh Classic was released? Yes, it was. It was October 15th, 1990. The Macintosh Classic, that was released alongside. What was that? Sorry about that. Yeah, it was released alongside the LC and the 2SI. So that was like the lineup in October 15th, 1990. 3 Apple Macintosh computers were released around that time frame. $512 for a Mac Plus. Well, I mean, around 1989, back then it would have been like a Plus or the SE. That's what I was thinking. Because there was also an SE30 in 1989 too. There was also the Mac. There was also the Mac 2. There was like you had like the Macintosh Plus, the SD/Ashley 30, and then the Macintosh 2 in like 1989ish or something like that. Oh, and the Macintosh 2 CI, which I remember the Computer Clan doing a video on that like years ago, and I watched that video on the 2 CI. He done this video on the 2 CI before, and he even mentioned that he bought that from like a video production lab at one of his schools back then. Yeah, I'm kind of doing my research here. But yeah, it's kind of fascinating to learn about these types of Macs. Me personally, before I used the iMac systems, I never even used, I never firsthand used like an Apple Mac computer before the iMac, because I was used to Windows as a kid growing up. But you know, it's kind of nice to have my tip in the water, my tip in the iceberg on the Mac systems, especially since I might have said this during my stream earlier, but my brother bought a 27-inch iMac, Intel iMac. It was a late 2013 model, a non-retina display too. And he got that like a little while ago at a local swap meet, and he still has it to this day. In fact, he's still using it right now as I speak at the time of recording. That thing had like a it had an Intel Core i5, I believe it's like a 4570 processor at like what, 3.2 gigs. Yeah, that was like at the moment, the iMac that my brother has now, that's pretty much the only current Mac system that we have now. It's running Mac OS High Sierra. I believe it's like what, 10.14, I guess, because I think 10. I don't know, my numbering might be a little bit wrong here, but you know. Oh yeah, 10.13 is High Sierra. 10.14 is Mojave. Yeah, I got my numbers mixed up. Wow, 2GS. Yeah, the 2GS was released like... The 2GS was released after around 2 years after the original Mac release. Yeah, GS/OS. Apple GS/OS, because yeah, that is one of the Apple 2GS operating systems on there. You know, fun fact. Excuse me. Fun fact. The 2GS introduced the Apple Desktop Bus protocol, which I actually do have some Apple Desktop Bus related things, which I'll bring out to you here. Alrighty, here. Those of you still here. Alright, I'm gonna show to you my camera here. I got some Apple Desktop Bus related things since the 2GS. Since the Apple 2GS was the first Apple product to use Apple Desktop Bus. So and this is what the mouse peripheral looks like. This is what it looks like. So this is an original Apple Desktop Bus mouse from, this is like the 1990 model, because this is from my dad's Mac Classic computer. This is like the only part of it that we have left. The other thing that I have here is this keyboard. This is the keyboard wire connector from that same Mac Classic system. And you can see here, this is what the pinouts look like. Sorry that my camera's not focusing on here, but this is what the ports look like. Very similar to S-Video because it's using the same 4-pin DIN layouts. But obviously, this would plug into the keyboard, this end would plug into the keyboard, and then this would plug in directly to the computer, obviously. And then this one would usually plug into the right side of the keyboard, obviously. And then this will plug into the left side of the keyboard, if that's how it works for you. But yeah, this is an Apple desktop bus mouse, family number G5431. So this is the first Apple desktop bus mouse. You have that mouse with your classic, the rounded one. Oh, the color classic, obviously, because this one's the original ADB mouse that came in like the 2GS and the classic and whatnot. I think by the time I think it was 1993. 1993, I believe, they started switching to, once again, I do have it here, this particular mouse. This is the Apple Desktop Bus Mouse 2. This is, yep, Apple Desktop Bus Mouse 2. So, yep. So, this one went away from the blocky, nature of this mouse and moved to a smooth, like a smooth surface thingery here. So this is pretty much the mouse that came with like the Macintosh Color Classic, and I even believe some models of the Mac Classic. I don't know, but it's like this is the second version. Yep, yeah, it came with the Color Classic. Yep, definitely. So this is the platinum colored Apple Desktop Bus Mouse 2, because they did make gray and black versions of these mouses too. You know, the black version was the one that came on the Macintosh TV, which the computer client actually has a Macintosh TV in the collection, to which Ken lovingly calls it the Blackintosh. In fact, I watched a Crazy Ken's Tech Misadventures episode about the Macintosh TV. It was like a two-parter, I guess, because it was like split up into two parts. It's one about the computer and one about the AV capturing portion thingery. But yeah. By the way, if you compare, this mice to like other mice around this same time, so this is the Compaq mouse. So like in the Vintage Apple Tours video, because they did a video on the evolution of Apple mouses, and when they got to the Apple Desktop Bus Mouse 2, they mentioned that if you compare other mice from competing companies around the same time, they mentioned that you'll start to notice more companies that are not Apple starting using the same form factor, because this is pretty much like the form factor that will eventually be used on all other mouses because of its ergonomic shape, you know. Yeah, even these two Apple Desktop Bus Mouses that I have, they haven't been yellowed too, and I actually fully cleaned them in and out. But since I don't have any actual Apple computing product to test these out on, they're pretty much just like they're like my personal collector's pieces now. Especially for this cable here, because this is for like, I think this is the cable for like a Apple keyboard. That's the name of it. It's just simply Apple keyboard. You can also use these with an Apple extended keyboard, because for the Mac Classic, you had two keyboard options: the Apple keyboard or the Apple extended keyboard. But yeah, if I do get a vintage Apple product in the future that takes ADB, you know, we'll see. You own the Mac TV for a while. Did like that the tuner will allow you to watch TV in the small screen. Yeah, I think that was probably I don't know. Could you even put it on full screen? Because I think from Crazy Ken's video, it was like So he switched it from the OS to like a, yeah, it was like a, yeah, he switched it from that to that. But because the screen size for the Macintosh TV, yeah, the Macintosh TV. So so the Macintosh TV, this one basically is, it's like the LC, it's based on the LC500 series, but in the black form. So yeah, it's a 14-inch Sony Trinitron CRT. So yeah, even like, yeah, Mac never got on was the 20th anniversary Mac. Yeah, the 20th anniversary Mac, that was like a thousand. That was like a $7,000 computer back then when it released on March 20th, 1997. And they dropped the price to around like $1995 in March 1998 when it was discontinued. But yeah, the 20th anniversary Macintosh was a very costly Apple Macintosh computer, especially since it was released it was released to mark Apple Incorporated's 20th anniversary since its inception in 1977. And I think that 20th anniversary Macintosh was one of the last computers, alongside all the other ones around that time frame, to use Apple Desktop Bus too. Because the 20th anniversary Macintosh also has ADB ports. Well, the Power Macintosh G3 Blue and White was the last computer to contain an ADB port. But that one also has USB ports too. But, you know. Wow. By the way, for anyone that's tuning into this live stream, we're kind of like in the post live stream stage at this point, because for those of you who might not know, I did a reaction, a watching video about this video from the Computer Clan about the Power Macintosh G3 All-in-One, aka the Molar Mac term, as termed by some people. I watched this video, it was great. I left a link in the description to this live stream so that you can watch it yourself. Small Trinitron monitors had small black horizontal lines always visible. Oh yeah, yeah. As far as Trinitron, as far as Sony Trinitron monitors go, I heard something connect there. If you excuse me, I'll be right back. Sorry about that. My brother was asking me if I ate yet, and I said I did. But anyways, yeah, I do have real life stuff kind of going on though. A drop shadow. Oh wow. Wow. I'm gonna probably look in that. By the way, I'm gonna. As far as the Macintosh TV goes, I can take a look at the. Oh yes. So he's done at least 3 videos, I think. Yeah, 3 videos on the Macintosh Color, on the Macintosh TV. So the first few ones was like 6 years ago as a 2-parter. And then he did a Crazy Ken's Tech Talk on the Mac TV too. So yeah, I can open this one in the incognito window here. So separate. So if I can do it here. Yeah, by the way, for those of you that are tuning the stream, obviously, this is an older video of his. This is from Crazy Ken's Tech Misadventures episode. So this is the Mac TV. Ah, yes, the CD-ROM drive with the caddy. I mean, yeah, these particular Macs around this time used caddy loading drives for CD-ROMs, and that was the thing back then. Now, the Power Macintosh 6100 had a tray loading drive, but all the other ones had like a caddy loading drive, like the like, yeah, that's a caddy loading drive. So, and he might even show it loading up a caddy drive here. Oh yes, yep, even show it here. Yeah. Yeah, so that's what the caddy drives look like. And I think he's gonna load one here. Yep. He's loading one in to the drive. So it kinda loads in like a VCR, pretty much. These caddy loading cartridge type caddy loading CD drives, obviously. I mean, nowadays it's not like that anymore for like what most optical disc-based systems nowadays. Like even computers that I'm familiar with don't have caddy loading drives. They're all tray loading drives. But yeah, pretty interesting about caddy loading systems, especially with the Mac TV here. Oh yes, and he did. So this is what I'm getting to. Yeah, mini discs used like a similar caddy loading enclosures. Heck, even the UMD even the UMD discs for the PlayStation Portable is also like a type of a caddy loading case enclosure, whatever that is. But yeah, and this is what this is what we were talking about. So this is the TV function that you switch to. So that's what it looks like. So you can see there, that's actually tuning into the yeah UMD. Yep. By the way, yeah. UMD is like the only UMD is like the only medium source for like portable gaming consoles, obviously, because portable gaming handhelds typically use like game cartridges or game cards, which I actually do own a couple of gaming cards here. If I can grab some out for you. this my is this the stylus that was on my original that was the stylus that was on my original PS Lite. Does it fit in here? Oh my gosh, it does. Yes, it does. By the way, what has this stream come to now? Because I've already just finished up what I was doing. Almost like 3 hours in. By the way, I might as well split this up into like a two-parter, a stream or whatever. But anyways, yeah. Yeah. It's wing. Oh, you need to leave? Oh. Oh, never mind. Oh, no worries, because I was about to wrap up the stream, but then you came. But anyways, so that means that it's kind of extending up to like what? I'm extending on runtime to almost about like nearly 3 hours. By the way, I started around like what? 7, 8. I started around like 8-ish here in my time, obviously, in my local time. But anyways. Oh wow. Yeah. I mean, yeah, because I was gonna pretty much wrap up this live stream, obviously, especially, it's almost like 11 here in my in my time zone now. It's like 10:57, so it's almost like 11. Wow. Maybe I should really need to take a rest. But you know, 5 concurrent viewers, Southern California. Oh wow, you're at the same time zone as me. Oh wow. Interesting. Yeah, yeah, I had so much fun with this stream, obviously. If I'm getting, because I pulled something out because I was kind of relating to something of, I was kind of relating to something between, like, optical discs and like portable handhelds and such, because the UMD format was kind of like it was kind of like the one of the only optical disc formats for portable handhelds, gaming handhelds, obviously. Yeah, it sure was fun. It sure was a fun stream too. It definitely was. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you enjoyed this stream. Even though you came in a little bit late after I finished up what I was doing. But anyways. But yeah, I'm pretty sure yeah, thank you for enjoying this post-stream part of the stream, obviously. By the way, I'm going to show you on camera here. So I was getting back to my UMD thing. So UMD was kind of like one of the only optical disc medium for portable handhelds, because pretty much most gaming handhelds nowadays use game cartridges. Even is my camera even functioning now? I think it stopped working. Oh, no wonder why. I think no wonder why I heard that thing go down. I think I'm gonna need to, like, my camera just froze. Yeah, I just need to like kind of like rejig that sort of thing. But anyways, I'm kind of having technical difficulties with the camera here, but you know, everything here is, oh yeah, thanks for the nostalgia. I'm definitely enjoying my nostalgia too, especially with my childhood Compaq. Yep. Yep. Anyways, before I, why did my camera decide, shall I, there we go. Camera's working now. By the way, yeah, discard. By the way, this is the, wow, the camera's really out of focus. But anyways, I was getting into what I was going earlier. So I can use custom. And I just killed the 1920 by 1080, highest FPS, any format, full color range, all the tech buffering. Yeah, for the 4 concurrent viewers that are out there watching this stream, if you're just tuning in right now, we're kind of in the like that. Some people would say like an after show, but I call this like a post stream, because we've already did what we're supposed to do, which is me reacting to the Computer Clan's video on the Molar Mac, aka the Power Macintosh G3 blue, not blue and white, the Power Macintosh G3 all-in-one, a Crazy Ken's Tech Talk video on this. I watched this one, it was good. It's interesting to know more about the quote-unquote ugly Mac. But it's really interesting, because even me, I never experienced the Molar Mac before, because I only experienced the iMac. Anyways, yeah, what is this stream going on to? It's almost like 3 hours. How about I spend the last 3 minutes? Just do one more thing here. Starting up whatever, just clean off my mess here. What has this stream become? It's pretty much delve into another whirlwind of topics. This might even be one of the first live streams to ever cross like an hour mark. It definitely was, but it's gonna be like a first 2-3 hour live stream. By the way, this is an original model DS. For those of you that are watching now, I remember having one of these things back when I was a kid in the mid 2000s. I remember using one of these original models. Then I switched to the light, the black and the silver ones. But I remember using this model. This is a launch model DS, and this is my original copy. The original copy of Mario Kart DS. I don't know if the camera's gonna pick focus on it. It's probably not. No, it's not. But I have my original copy of Mario Kart DS on here. Then I'm gonna insert here and turn on. And I actually completed this game, obviously. That's why I got this here. But I'm not going to show any of that today. But anyways, yeah, pretty much got everything to do here. As far as everything else goes. Oh my gosh, what has this stream has become? It's become entirely something else. Especially after I finish the live stream. By the way, I'm gonna show you guys some sneak peeks. What are going on here? just gonna bring my camera over here to where it's facing. I'm gonna show you a sneak peek of what I've been doing. So what I got here is my Dell Optiplex 980 computer. Yes, excuse the mess here, but this is my Dell Optiplex 980 computer, and it's like it's still here. I just haven't gotten around to doing a little bit more to it because, like, you know, real life stuff. But I'm gonna turn on here. I actually put the thing into sleep mode, so wake up, computer. I think it's going. Yes, the thing is running Windows 10. I know, sorry about the weird camera angles. But yeah, I got it running Windows 10 on here, even though it says it's not supported. But it actually runs well on here. And with the new card that I put in here, because it originally came with like a 8600 GT, which is a little bit older than what this thing is supported. But yeah, I'm in the process of doing things to this thing, because this thing does run Windows XP and Windows 7 very well. But oh wow, we're almost close to 3 hours in. May as well because I'm gonna bring that up here. Oh, I just unplugged the thing. I just unplugged the hard drive, the external hard drive that I was using here, because, like, yeah, Macroom reflect. Restart to repair drive errors. The heck? Are you sure? Restart your PC to repair drive errors. Are you doesn't want me to restart to do that? There's a problem with the drive. Scan the drive now and fix it. Yes, I'll go ahead. Oh, the whole drive system is having problems. What the heck? My goodness, what is up with this thing? Anyways, by the way, for those of you that are just tuning in, we got 3 concurrent viewers here. Last Wednesday of last week, the first YouTube video that was ever uploaded to this platform turned 20 years old. Hard to believe it's that long ago, but you know, it's pretty much that, you know. Kind of hard to believe that the first YouTube video, me at the zoo, turned 20 years old. Which I actually made like a like a parody of some sorts on my channel, which you can see right now on the channel. That was actually not only it doubles as like me participating in that in the 20th anniversary of that video, but it also serves as my first vlog content here on the platform, and also the first ever video ever to show my actual face and whatnot. Because up until that point, I never showed my face on camera. You know, in all these videos that I just uploaded. Though you may see like a very, very small little hints there in some of the videos, especially with the Windows Update Restored video that I did back in last year, I guess. Yeah, it's probably last year. When I restarted my AMD Compaq that I was working on at the time, you can see me. You can see myself, the face and all, in the reflection of that monitor, which is interesting. Well, I didn't really notice at first, but looking back at it, I'm like, whoa, I can really see myself in that reflection. This is interesting. Anyways, yeah, this thing is like fixing the errors on that external drive. Anyway, I don't want to bore you over with my ramblings and stuff. So why not I shall move on to everything else. By the way, that's my sorry about that. I had to move over here. By the way, this is the main computer that I'm using right now. It's a HP laptop, simply HP laptop that I got in November 2020. It still works to this. It still works and runs to this day. Yeah. But who knows? Maybe I might switch to another daily driver laptop, or even get like a daily driver desktop. Cause I never had a daily driver desktop before. Anyways, I am gonna be running my Intel Compaq again to see other OSs aside from the Windows 98 one that we just saw. I heard the floppy drive seek sound. I am gonna go into Windows 2000 Professional. So you have not seen Windows 2000 Professional starting up on this live stream too. Oh, see, that's the thing. Even though this thing's at 60 hertz, it's 640 by 480, and that's one of the downsides to this camera. Even though this camera works as a it works, but you know, it's stuff like this shutter speed wise. See, yeah, that's one of the drawbacks of this camera, but it's the only one I got because the previous camera I was using, it broke. It was the Sony HX-99 model camera that I've been using. Yeah, this little strobe thing kind of. Oh my gosh, that's worse. You know, it's 1024 by 760. I think it was probably because I moved it closer, and I think might as well move it somewhere where there's no yeah, this is better. This is better. That's better. And I heard my Windows 10 PC story starting. Administrator. That sound never gets old to me. You know, fun fact, not necessarily. Wow! 3 hours and 5 minutes. We just passed over the 3-minute mark. Oh my goodness. This is probably going to be the longest live stream I've ever done on the channel. Oh my goodness. I don't know how long they're going to last. I don't know how long I'll last this live stream. Who knows? And I actually still got the live stream running on my running concurrently on my phone too. Look at that. This is probably going to be the longest live stream. I'm still getting the live stream from here. And yeah, so I got Windows 2000 running up on here. You know, fun fact, not necessarily fun fact, but my cousins used to have this like custom built computer from MSI around sometime in the 2000s. You know, the early to mid 2000s or whatnot. They had this custom built MSI computer that supposedly had Windows 2000 on it, but was dual booted with XP too. I think it was dual booted with Windows 2000 XP when it was built. I don't know, but that was one of the first ever computers that I ever experienced Windows 2000 on. So yeah, Windows 2000, Service Pack 4, 1901 to 1999. You know, Windows 2000 when it was new back then, it was still tailored for like a business customers and servers, pretty much. Because NT back at the time was only oriented to businesses, not necessarily consumers. That didn't happen until XP came out. Everyone was still using the 9X series of Microsoft Windows operating systems. But anyway, so this was at the time the most reliable version of Windows ever, because they still had the 9X series, obviously. But yeah, Windows 2000 runs. And by the way, I am using the same background that I used for my 98 installation, also based off of the Cyborg Kudo-chan manga and anime series, an obscure manga and anime series. Again, this art was not made by me, but I used it as a background wallpaper because anyone in the comments could question on this wallpaper, and I got comments on this wallpaper, me using this wallpaper. I still have the source to this thing, obviously. I'll shut it down. Actually, I might restart. Yeah, I'll restart. I don't know. Hey, it's shutting down. Okay, meanwhile, I got my I'm gonna keep it that way. Shut down, and I'll start back up. We've got 3 concurrent viewers watching this stream. For those of you that are just tuning in right now, we're in the after streaming, whatever, post stream part of the stream, which has gone over like a little more than like 1 or 2 hours now. But basically, this stream was pretty much meant to be like it was pretty much to be like me reacting to the to Computer Clan's Power Macintosh G3 all-in-one computer for Crazy Ken's Tech Talk, aka the Molar Mac. And this computer is not shutting down. I guess I'm gonna have to do a hard shutdown. You know, now that comes thinking, I may do a separate live stream of me just working on my retro computing thingeries here. Because this is kind of like a preview of what's to come, I guess. And because I showed my face in that Me at the Zoo parody video that I did, I might as well just get in myself and just show my face on camera here and there, now and then, whatever. Windows 1000 server family is running on there. Sorry for the flicker. Sorry to get that. To all my viewers here, because once again, I don't have I cannot control the shutter speed of this camera. If I had that some sort of an Elgato device that will let me take HDMI inputs straight out from that one camera that I was using at the time, that would work well. Oh my goodness. Oh gosh. It's like 60 hertz, but oh my goodness. See the flicker warning. Oh my goodness. Why did I choose a white background for this thing? This is probably the worst background that I ever chose to display on this camera. It looks fine on the other cameras, but this one is kind of flickery. Oh my gosh. Yeah, but by the way, this is Yeah, I'm sorry you're gonna have to deal with the flicker here because that's just how this camera is. Anyways, I got Windows 2000 server. I got Windows 2000 server running on here. Windows 2000, it doesn't really say Windows 2000 server, but it does say here, Windows 2000 server here. I'm gonna restart because that strobing is gonna go crazy, and I don't want to blind people with the epilepsy coming out from that because this camera. By the way, you're getting a little bit of a look at my room. Oh, the cloning failed. What the heck? Do I really need to? Yeah. Why did the clone failed? Maybe I should start booting into that thing again. It seems like it's not doing anything. By the way, I'm gonna go ahead and jump back into the here. Load into one of my Windows 2000 styled Windows XP. Yeah, it's still using the XP boot screen, but I may change that at some point. Oh, that's running there. Ah, okay. Yes. You know what? I think I'm just gonna move this out, and I'm just gonna have to like redirect focus to this thing here, because I don't really like the way how it strobes on this camera, because this thing does not have adjustable shutter speed when using it as like a one-time boot menu. Yes. USB device. We're like 3 minutes and 14 seconds. 3 concurrent viewers. I don't know if that was like me or whatever, just watching the streams. If it was like 3 and it's all me, well, I'm pretty much doing this live stream for myself. What would I think? You know? I don't know what this stream has become. You know, I may as well stop at like 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Or maybe I have it like stop at like 3333. How about that? How about that? Yeah, I'll probably stop around like what, 3 hours, 33 minutes, 33 seconds. I want to have like a little bit of a round number here to make it interesting. Yeah, I'll do that. By the way, is this Bandicam running for like 6 gigs? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to stop that. Been running that for so long. And by the way, my main phone ran out of battery, so sorry about that. Sorry about the silence here. Yeah, the stream is still going. I still got here. I don't know how this. I don't know how the stream became like a computer clan focused live stream on that one particular video. Now it's become something else. But hey, at least you're getting like the full sneak preview of it. Whatever. Of future live streams that I might potentially do on the channel. Because right now it's just me just tinkering around with a bunch of stuff that I have for my retro computing collection or whatnot. Well, I mean, the Dell Optiplex 980 that I have in here is not considered retro because it's too new to be considered retro, but you know, let's just say it's part of my collection of computers. Simply put. Alright, I'm gonna launch into Mac Can Reflect here. I'm gonna try to get my face in here less in the stream, but you know, I don't think I really ever shown my face on the stream. Not in this stream. I'll probably do it later. It's 11:26 now. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing with this stream now. It's just, now it's pretty much pointless at this point. It's pointless for me to continue just doing this stream after I finish what I've been doing, but you know, sometimes I just can't stop. But yeah, let's say clone. I'm gonna clone this thing partitioned to here. Plop it in and just leave it as is. Finish. Okay. And that's gonna spat out problems. No hibernate, no hibernate. I'm just gonna restart. Yeah, is this whole live stream gonna be me just pointing a camera directly at a computer screen and just like, it's pointless. It's gonna be a pretty pointless live stream now. By the way, I'm gonna see if I can go back to this thing right here. Yep, that's Windows 2002 boot screen. What it looks like. And yeah, the background that really kicks in the strobiness. This seems really disjointing. Because I can't really I couldn't really adjust the yeah, I couldn't really adjust configure video. Yeah, there's no camera control options for the exposure, focus, and whatnot. It's like literally nothing. It's just all preset. So I really can't do anything about it. yeah, really can't do anything about it other than just just let people dealing all these things. By the way, this is a Windows 2000 personal I got on here. Put that on. My phone's charged. 3%. It charged very slow. Oh, no. It's 11:30 now. Yeah, I don't know what this stream has become now. It's pretty much a pointless stream. This part is. Now for Windows Embedded POS Ready 2009. Let's see how we go here. I'm sure most people watching the live replay on this won't probably tune in to this post live stream part of this stream, because it's pretty much just pointless. What are you here for? Just go watch the other part of the live stream and see what you're really in here for. Alright, now I'm going to go into here. It's obviously Windows XP. Yep. I hate this strobing thing. Probably because I'm using this camcorder. Alright, this camera. Yeah, that looks good from far away here, but let me get myself over there. And the cloning failed on that thing. I think I'm gonna have to use Gpart for that. To actually do clone thing, whatever, because it doesn't seem to like it. Anyways, what do we got here? What's that? MS Info. Info? Yeah, Windows Embedded POS Ready 2009. It actually says it on there. Sorry that I had to pull my camera out so that way I can reduce flicker. By the way, I can't really zoom in on this camera. Oh, I can. I guess zooming in kind of helps. I don't know if that's gonna... And can I really do focus here? I'm gonna cover up this thing here if it actually switches. Nope, it doesn't. Should I do flash here? It doesn't work. Couldn't really adjust exposure. I think everything is fixed except for... Yeah, it's all fixed. Well, oh well. Sorry for the blurry picture, but I just had to do what I need to do. By the way, I've already got WinVer here. I do sysdm. CPL. Windows Embedded POS Ready 2009 version 2.0. Oh gosh. Strobing effect is whenever there's white parts on the screen, it tends to whenever there's white parts on the screen far away, it tends to like really iffy. But yeah, you guys can't see it, but that says Windows Embedded POS Ready 2009. Yeah, it sucks that I can't really adjust. I really can't adjust anything on this camera aside from performing zoom in. So I can zoom in there, fine. But I am not able to do anything else other than that. So I'm just pretty much stuck with one mode. Oh, I can still focus. Why haven't I learned that? But anyways, yeah, so I can focus. I can do autofocus, and I can do yeah, I can autofocus. I can autofocus, and I can zoom in and out. That's only a plus, but you know. Yeah, Windows Embedded POS Ready 2009 version 2.0 Service Pack 3. And yeah, I put that custom thingery in there. And zooming out here. Oh gosh. It's like the shutter speed of when the iPhone camera is in portrait mode, when in photo mode. That's what it reminds me of. So, zoom in here. Refocus the camera. Yeah, whenever there's like white parts on it, it tends to get the shutter speed out of whack or something like that. And I can't really adjust it from here. So I actually had to do it manually. Oh wait, I was supposed to shut it down. Because I already took a look at all of them. So I had to press the button. Waiting for it to shut down. Or it might be locked. Yeah, it's going to restart. Yeah, it's going to restart back here again. How about I go back to 98 and just call it a day here. High refresh rate, high refresh rate. It's like 70 hertz. I have to put my hand here. What has this stream come to? About like 3:30 now. Just sorry about the strobing here, but I guess you might have to deal with it for now. I'm sorry. I don't have anything else to do other than to blame my camera. The camera that I'm using for the live stream here. That's why I almost never use this camera as my main camera. I used to record on iPhones, and even then I can't use iPhones as directly as a video capturing source. But anyways, yeah, escape. In the meantime, I'm also going to have to figure out what the ordering of the stuff and reordering the stuff in my Optiplex 980. Let me get that thing sorted. Shut down. Oh boy. We've been through a lot. We've definitely been through a lot. It's 11:40. It's almost the end of the month now. By the way, I think I would like to say thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream. Whatever has become of it, I know I sure have. And I just lost connection to my camera yet again. What's up? This thing is finicky. What's up? Deactivate, activate. There we go. Regardless of all the stuff that I've done today, I would like to thank you all so much for watching this live stream, whether you're watching this or not. And yeah, so until then, thank you all guys for watching this live stream, and I hope to see you all in the next one. See ya.